Sorry.
No, I'm pleased to apologize. You're saving my ass right now.
I was going to ice storm up there, so pretty much everyone except the number 4 there next to you would have been incorporated in that, including the people in the other room.
Unfortunately, I don't think an ice storm would have killed the Triceratops before it got to hurt Alessander.
Yeah, but so, killed everyone else.
That being said, you still could cast it to hurt everyone but the Triceratops.
Well, it's a cylinder, so in order to cast it, it's a 20-foot cylinder.
Yeah, so you have to
see where you're casting it.
Yeah.
None of the bodyguards have been, or bodyguards have been hit yet, have they?
Number 3 definitely has.
Yeah, number 3's been trampled by the Triceratops.
Number 3. So since I'm in Dracula, I'm going to keep my form and,
and leap towards him.
Spring to number 3.
Your little snake form leaps onto the ramp.
Yeah.
Oops.
Sticking its bearing its fangs at Broodguard 3. Roll to hit.
And that is a 14 plus 4. So it's 18.
That's a hit. Roll your damage.
And that is
5.
46. That is 5. It's another 15 points of damage.
Another 15 points of damage. Okay, he goes down, struggling under Tiny Snake Sinhorn. And I just want to say, since the stream has made me aware that the sound had been off all the time, up until now, I just want to recap what's happened for everyone in the stream. There were 3 UNT in this room. The party decided to ambush them. They managed to stop UNT from getting to the gong that would alert the whole area of that there were enemies in the room. However, the UNT priest cast suggestion on Alessander, who was standing next to the gong, ready to attack anyone who ran towards it. And Alessander failed her wisdom save and was convinced to ring the gong, which has drawn all of these enemies from the adjoining room into battle. Alessander has just been gored by a Triceratops and is not looking too good.
I'm having a great time. So glad I decided to take my body back over.
It is now Onyx's turn.
Now Onyx's turn. Okay, Dokale. Can Onyx move up here and squeeze through here?
Yes, you can. You can move through other characters' spots. So you should move past.
I would like to move up to here.
Yep, you will be getting an attack of opportunity from Broodguard.
I'm still within his area of control, though I haven't left it.
Oh yeah, you haven't left. Yeah, that's right. Yep, you're fine. Yep.
Cool. I am going now with my smites that I have, because they're not the typical paladin smites. Do I need to cast them first?
Yes, and attacking is part of casting them.
Yeah.
So like you see, like for example,
these
Searing
ones are
Smite.
bonus actions. So because they're actually bonus actions, I think I need to cast them before I make the attack.
Sorcerer Smites. I thought they were things like Searing Smite and stuff like that.
Yeah, Branding Smite, Searing Smite, Blinding Smite. They're all bonus actions.
Yes.
I don't think I can activate them once I've got a confirmed hit.
Let me just check. Oh, yeah, you're right. Next time you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you must cast them before you attack.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to cast a second level Branding Smite, so that my Warhammer starts to glow. I'm going to get Branding Smite up on my computer. Branding Smite, okay, and I'm going to hit it with my Warhammer, hopefully. That is an 18.
18, you're hitting the Broodguard, that is a hit.
Broodguard, yep, okay, so my normal damage is for a Warhammer, a D10, because I'm two-handing it. That was 6 plus... What's my strength is +4. So that's 10 damage, and then my branding smite is... Sorry, I'm just remember 2d6 radiant. So 10 plus 6 damage. And now this creature is glowing and emitting 5 feet of light.
Yep.
So it cannot hide.
Lovely. It is now Alisander's turn.
Okay.
Not me.
Can I do Eldritch? Oh, I mean, I'm still keeping.
Oh, and I'll be right back.
Yep.
Okay. I'm kind of a pickle now because the Triceratops is on our side, then Death Scruff's just gonna hurt it and probably break whatever. It's annoying. If the Triceratops takes damage from Death's Grasp, it's gonna break free of the control from Acre, isn't it?
Yes, because it will count as her or one of her allies attacking it.
And there is 0 chance of it dying from 3d6.
Oh, it might. You don't know.
No, is it looking damaged from before? Because it's only taken like...
Only a
10
little
damage.
bit. Yeah, only a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's not even
It's
that
just
funny.
looking angry.
God damn it. I really want to try and keep whatever's down the hallway, whatever's left from down the hallway from coming down here, at least holding them up, but... It's annoying now. I spent most of my turn trying to figure out what to do from here, and I've got nothing at the moment. Maybe we should have told Ava not to do that.
Well, it's done now. What would you like to do?
Yeah. Shit.
That said, if someone can convince the Triceratops to move out of that area, which it will likely do because...
He did say it was chum... Oh, he said it was chum by me and Ava?
Yes, but not it can still attack everyone else.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna look at the Triceratops, look and go, point towards the Yuan-Ti Pure Bloods down the hallway, point to like things on the floor, and basically try to symbol to it that the stuff on the floor is bad. If it stays there, it needs to go back down the hallway and take out whoever's down the end.
Please make an animal handling check.
Oh god.
With advantage, because it is charmed for you.
17. I can't believe I rolled 14 twice, so that's going to be 17. What can be advantage if I just roll the same? Why
The Triceratops looks behind itself back down the hallway, and then you just see it. You just see it huff. Mucus and steam blowing out of its nostrils as it looks between you and the enemies. We'll see what it does on its next turn. It is Sir Lucian's turn. Sir Lucian steps forwards and he can't make it to the Brood Guard, so what he's going to do instead is hurl his javelin at Brood Guard 4. And that will be 2 plus 8. That is a 20, non-natural. And plus 5. That is 8 points of damage. He's going to hurl another javelin. That is a 15. That's a hit. And that is another 7 points of damage. Okay, it is the enemy's turn. The Triceratops looks at between Alisander and the hallway, and then it turns and charges back down the hallway, roaring as its footsteps thump, bang, 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 and it makes a gore attack at something in the adjoining room. Rolls a nat 20.
Oh my god!
Hell yeah! Go
deals
play with the other things. Go play with the other things.
deals 44 points of damage and kills something in the adjoining room.
Oh, cool. That could have been me.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Yuan-Ti Pure Blood 1 runs
Wouldn't they
up
have-
to
I was gonna say,
Zinhorn.
Wouldn't those two have had to have rolled something to get out of the way so they didn't get shoved over by the Triceratops?
That's a good point. I did roll for them and they did pass. I just didn't narrate it. Yuan-Ti Pure Blood 1 rushes up to Zinhorn and she makes an attack. That is going to be a 15 to hit.
That does hit Draculi.
Yep, so Jakuli Zinhorn takes 7 points of piercing damage. And is
Okay.
Jakuli Zinhorn immune to poison?
I'm assuming it would say somewhere.
Yeah, it would say in the stat block. If it's immune to poison, it'd say damage immunity poison.
That's a jacuzzi horn.
Yeah, Jacuzzi Horn.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It doesn't say anywhere.
Let me just double
that it-
check. Yeah, no, it's not
What?
immune to poison, so you take an additional 12 points of poison damage from the poison on her scimitar.
Jakuli's still alive?
Yep.
On 1 HP?
She's going to make her second multi-attack, and that is an 18 to hit.
Yep.
That is 7 points of slashing damage, plus
Yeah.
2 points of poison damage.
Welcome back, Zinhorn.
Alright,
So
so
Zinhorn is down 8, because took 1,
down-
got knocked back into
Hang
Zinhorn.
on. No, it's poison. Never mind, it's acid.
Yep. Yeah, you want-
Damage.
Yuan-Ti Pure Blood 2 runs up to Onyx. She makes a multi-attack with her scimitar.
Bring it on.
That is a nat 20 on the first one. So that is
You were saying?
12 points of piercing damage, plus 7 points of poison damage.
I'm sorry, brother.
And then her
I'm sorry.
her second attack is 10, so it just bounces
misses.
off your rock flesh.
Oh.
Yuan-Ti Broodguard 4 decides to attack Alessander, making 2 claw attacks. That is a 9 and a 15. Alessander blocks them, sweat rolling down her face.
Stop it.
The bite attack is 21.
Stop doing that.
That is 10 points of piercing damage.
Please stop
He
biting me.
sinks his
It's
fangs
really
into you.
painful.
In the adjoining room, Yuan-Ti Broodguard 2 runs away out into the corridor, but draws an attack of opportunity from the Triceratops as he does so.
Just remember getting down that corridor was also...
It nat 20s on its gore attack
Jesus!
and deals 47 points of damage, instantly tearing the Broodguard in two.
I was gonna say, I'm just looking down the hallway, I hear a roar, and then it's just a massive splat across the wall. Like, cool!
Yeah, so the Triceratops took out two more enemies. It is now Ava's turn.
Before you do that, the
Yep.
Yuan-Ti Pure Blood 3 is still in the difficult
Yep, so
terrain,
she's going
so
to make a
Dex,
dex
please.
save. That is a 6. The difficult
No.
terrain, the tendrils of dark energy lash out from the concrete floor and strike her. Roll your damage.
Alrighty, here we go. So 9 points of necrotic damage this time.
9 points of necrotic damage. She is still up, but just barely. It is Ava's turn.
Ava is going to shoot the brood guard.
Yep, go ahead, roll to hit him.
Well, first she'll fly up, so
Yeah,
that
to
she
get
can actually see the
advantage,
brood
yep.
guard. And yep, so first attack was an unnatural 20.
That is a hit.
That is 12 physical damage, and I'm
Yep.
doing the psychic now. 3 psychic,
Yep.
and then she's going to attack it again if it's still standing. That is a 27.
27. Okay.
That's,
That is a hit.
and that's 10 damage.
10 damage. Nice. It is now Zinhorn's turn.
But Xenon would know that acid and poison damage is different.
Yeah, he
So-
would know they're different things.
Because yeah, primal savagery is actually acid damage, not poison damage. So he is that is yeah. Try a primal savagery just to get some information. When the claws come out, the look in the eyes turns like real sinister, and going to have a slash with those claws.
Yep. Let's go ahead,
Is
roll
a
to hit.
16 plus 8,
That is a hit. Roll for damage.
so that is 2d10. That is 8 points of acid damage.
Ooh, nice. She hisses as the acid sears some of her skin away.
And that is good because it gives information.
It is Onyx's turn.
Onyx is going to use his bonus action to re-summon his shadow up here,
Yep.
giving him an advantage attack on Pure Blood 2.
Yep, the shadow blinks out of existence and rematerializes up on the balcony in front of you.
And that is an unnatural 20 on the first hit, which is 12 damage. And then I'm going to, because this does not cost a bonus action, get my shadow to attack as well.
Go ahead, roll to hit.
Yeah.
Advantage because, and that's a nat 20.
Yep.
Fucking noob cyborg. Way more combat at this point, just giving your shadow beating the shit out of one person.
That's 8 damage.
8 damage. Nice. She goes down without a fight.
Fucking crit on me, you stupid bitch. And then I'm going to stay where I am, actually move 5 feet to the right so that
Yep.
Broodguard is
He's
properly flanked.
Lovely. It is Alisander's turn.
Yeah, well, target directly in front of me, and Eldritch Blast is fine at 5 feet, so guess what, buddy? And I get advantage because of flanking, yes?
Yep.
Okay, so that's a 25 for the first. And for the second blast is 23.
That is both hits.
Cool. We have 7 on the first blast and 8 on the second. So 15 force damage all up on that.
Yep. And Broodguard 4 goes down. It is Sir
Yes.
Lucian's turn. 5, 10, 20, 25, 30.
Yeah.
Sir Lucian rushes up with his sword. 20 plus 11. That is yet another nat 20 from Sir Lucian.
God!
That is 32 points of damage, and he guts her on the edge of his blade.
In that case, so we still have further down the hallway, yes?
Down the hallway, you can hear no more enemies, and you just hear the sound of the Triceratops roaring, and then the terrifying loud crash of what sounds like splintered wood being crushed underfoot. But combat appears to be over.
Okay, in that case, Alisander's gonna snap her fingers to end Death Cross and just slump back against the railing going, you know, this morning one of my first thoughts was it was so nice to feel things properly again. Now I just want the pain to stop.
And I would just like to clarify that the duration of animal friendship is
24 hours. That is correct.
I'll go nuts and smash shit up during the way here, because...
Well, it doesn't actually let me control them. It just means
just makes
that
you
we
friends.
are not threats.
Yes,
So.
Alisander and Ava have together convinced the Triceratops that the party are not threats.
Yes.
Hey.
And I'm going to keep my shadow following because it doesn't have a time limit.
Yes, that is correct.
So, yeah, he's just going to follow.
Okay, so, where would you like to go from here? You can have a proper look at the room now, if you want, or...
Yeah, I want to just sort of head over to where the Triceratops is and just see, get a proper look in that room just to...
Yep.
Fair enough.
Zinhorn, you walk into the adjoining room, and you see the following. First of all, the Triceratops has smashed a wooden cart, flung it across the room, and is now happily grazing on piles of grain leaking out of Hessian sacks in the ruins of the cart. Meanwhile, also in the room is... that's room number 2. 4 pillars carved with serpent reliefs support the 20-foot high ceiling of this large room, in the middle of which is an 18-foot high statue of coiled cobra facing north. Torches with green flames flicker on the walls, and the air reeks of dung. 2 wagons are parked in one corner, one of them already having been flung over and destroyed underfoot by the Triceratops, and there is a metal pen in the opposite corner. To the west are a pair of dark alcoves where 4 basilisks growl at you, struggling to free themselves from wooden stakes that they have been tied to, securing them to the alcoves.
Backing out of the room, backing away from the room.
Yeah, please do.
Into the room, out of the room again.
Yeah.
While
I just let him go.
while Zinhorn is doing that, I would like to sacrifice a first level spell slot to get 2 sorcery points back.
Yep.
And then I'm going to use 3 of my sorcery points to get a second level spell back.
Yep.
I'm going to use Cure Wounds on myself, because...
That's probably a good
crap,
idea.
I took a lot of damage in that fight. That hurt a shit ton.
And then I'm also going to second wind.
Yes, probably a good idea. So, meanwhile, in this room itself, the underground cathedral opens before you. At one end, a sculptured balcony perches atop 5 rearing stone serpents. Blood dribbles from the serpent's jaws and falls into the basin below. And from there flows along a sloped trough into the wide stone bowl set into the floor. South of the bowl is a mezzanine, prominently situated atop which is a cauldron of steaming broth that exudes fleshy odours. To the west, where you stand, there once was a huge gong carved with snake patterns that has now been separated from the floor and flung across the room by the Triceratops' charge.
Alexander, how much health you got?
After that Cure Wounds, I'm at... for the number behind it, it's 44 out of 78, so still looking at...
I'm going to do a healing word at second level.
Should probably use some of my potions as well. We should be burning through spell slots, because it's only going to go badly for us at this rate.
Yeah.
How many potions do we have left, by the way?
I believe I have 1 greater, because I took one of the graders, and I've got 1 normal.
I have 3 normals,
Oh, that's
1
2 points!
greater, and 1 supreme.
2 points.
I have stockpiled.
Did we actually divvy out the potions that we got from?
Well, you all were given 2 potions of healing plus 1 potion of greater healing from Rock.
Oh, okay. So that's how it went out. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's how what I assumed it was. So it's
No, yeah, it's just we never clarified, so I was just
also for
clarifying.
my second level healing word, I got 2 4s out of 4s, and that is 8 plus 5 is 13 points of healing for you. Maximum healing.
Yeah,
From
Lovely.
Jim
There's that 13. Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay, so it's
Actually,
2 more.
my normal potion since I have a couple to work with.
So what would you guys like to do? You have the whole next room open to you. You have plenty of stuff to examine here in the cathedral. There's the door that the UNT came out of, and another set of thick stone doors set into the eastern wall. And they have carved into them the image of what appears to be a half-man, half-snake figure holding a great staff and wearing a crown upon his head.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, that one kind of obvious.
See what's at the top on the little
On the
platform?
balcony up above?
Yeah.
Before we do that, do we want to check this room and make sure that nothing else is in there that was just hiding?
If you want to.
Just to make sure we don't get sprung from behind.
Whilst you're doing that, yeah, I want to go and have a look up on the balcony.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so Zinhorn, you are not able to fly, so I would like you to make...
I've got vines.
Oh, yeah. So with your vines, please make an acrobatics check with advantage to get up onto the balcony.
Oh, that's an 18 plus
18,
something.
yep. So you lash out your vines, one of them wraps around one of the snake heads, and you pull yourself up onto the balcony that overlooks the rest of the room. And you find, on top of the balcony, almost nothing. It's barely big enough for someone to stand and address the room, but there doesn't appear to be any means of entry onto the balcony. Nothing in the way of doors or stairs. Rather, at the very back of the balcony, in an alcove, there is a circle carved into the floor with a picture of a red snake on it. And as you walk close to it, you could feel almost like static electricity, the aura of magic rippling from this circle. Meanwhile, the party enters the room on the east, and inside you find...
Oh, son of a bitch.
A fountain of cool water bubbles on the floor ahead. The scent of lilies fills the air, and silken drapes drift lazily in the heat. Archways open into shaded booths, heaped with cushions and trays of sugared sweet. Lounging about are a dozen scantily clad female humanoids, with eyes like those of snakes and scaly patches on their arms, legs, necks, and backs. They look at you as you enter, and you notice that they are all unarmed. Indeed, they make no effort to attack you.
Oh, thank God.
I would like to speak up in common and just go, we mean you no harm. You don't attack us, we will leave you here in peace. In Draconic, sorry, not common.
Draconic?
Yeah, in
Please
Draconic.
make a persuade check with advantage.
Oh, thank God. Oh, jeez, fuck. 13, shit, that was really bad.
You hiss
Probably.
out your orders, and they just stare at you, unsure of what to do, and then one of the pure blood steps forward. She raises her hands to show that she holds no weapons, and in Draconic, she hisses, "Please, please, we'll stay out of your way. Do not harm us. We are but concubines, nothing more."
Oh, dang.
That explains the clothing.
Yeah, okay. Well, fine.
And well, I reply in Draconic, okay, we will leave now, but just be warned, we will not take mercy on any who go back on that word.
She nods, and she waves her hands towards the other concubines, and they all retreat back into the back rooms and pull the curtains shut. hiding them from your view.
Okay, and I relay to the rest of the party what just transpired.
Sit outside the mother and go self-guide. You really need to work on the draconic at some point.
Sir Lucian grips the hilt of his blade and he says, I know they're only concubines, but maybe they know what awaits us up ahead.
I also rolled a dirty 20 on Arcana to try and get a bit of an
Yep.
idea of
So-
where that.
So Zinhorn, you determine that this strange thing carved into the floor appears to be some type of teleportation circle. It's likely that there's a network of them situated throughout the dungeon. You have no idea where its counterparts are until you step upon the teleportation circle.
Hmm.
If you were with the party, you would have noticed that in one of the concubines' rooms there is an identical teleportation circle carved in an alcove at the very back.
So did we notice that one?
Well, you guys noticed that you guys wouldn't notice it's there because to you it's just a decorated alcove, but Zinhorn would have recognized it as being a counterpart to that teleportation circle.
Well, there.
Okay.
Do we want to check with them to see if they know anything about this place that could help us?
If you want to, I'll be a translator.
Well, either that, I could go and ask if they know common.
Oh, that's true.
We do. Yeah, Alexander will step into the room and just go, excuse me, would any of you happen to know common by any chance?
One of the purebloods steps forward through the velvet curtains and she nods and in a heavily accented voice says, me speak common, not well, enough to understand.
So as long as she understands, I'll get on it and go, you might want to translate. Turns back to going, well, feel free to answer in Draconic then if that's easier for you, so my friend can translate. Would you be able to tell us anything about this place to help us? We are here to deal with, well, we're here to meet with your master, but deal with them if necessary. But would you be willing to tell us anything? You don't have to answer if you don't wish, but...
Please make a persuade check.
That's a 19.
19. The concubine listens, then she steps fully out of the alcove into the central area, and she holds out a hand and she says, I am Zagmira. Yes, if you are here to kill Ras Nsi, we will help. Under his rule, we are nothing more than playthings.
Oh, there is a gleam in Alessandra's eyes as she hears that, going, well, I do believe we can help each other. What could you since the rest of you going, what do you guys wish to know? Or what should we ask? Actually, I do have one question.
Yep.
Just off the top of my head, unless anyone else decides to ask anything, goes, yes, I noticed that, despite being, Ras Nsi is your ruler, despite Yuan-Ti, do you know that Yuan-Ti is usually like a female-led society, or would I know that, if that's possible?
Yeah, you would know that.
Yeah.
Bobbit would know that.
Yeah,
well, Alexander would know that being from Chol, yeah.
Yes, well, I noticed that Ras Nsi is your ruler despite it being a matriarchal
Society, yes.
What happened to your queen?
Indeed, it is very unusual that there is a male ruler of Yuan-Ti. Zagmira lowers her head sadly.
Again, she can speak in Draconic.
Yes,
Onyx
if it's
and
easier for
translate,
her.
but yeah.
She lowers her head sadly and she says, the Queen did rule us many cycles, long time ago. She says, then, out of the jungle, came Ras Nsi. Almost he was about to die, convinced Queen that he would be servant, help her gain power, strike out of Omu, conquer rest of Cholt. Queen transform him into a Malison, and then Queen become Ras Nsi's puppet. She looks around at all of the other concubines and says, "We were handmaidens of the Queen. Ras Nsi forced us to become playthings and force his will over Yuan-Ti. Most Yuan-Ti too scared to oppose him, but some still faithful to Queen." She bites her bottom lip and she says, "Queen now hides in her bedchamber to the north, beyond where the blood pours. Go towards the front gate. Turn to the east, and you will see her chamber, a lone door in the corridor before the altar room." With these directions, you are able to recognize that this room here is the Queen's bedchamber.
Okay. Can we ask, is there another way there?
She
Or
thinks
is
for a moment.
through the corridors the only way?
She thinks for a moment, and then she pulls open the purplish curtains and points towards what you thought was a alcove that was decorated with a painting on the floor of a red snake. And she points at it and she says, "This. Sometimes Ras Nsi and his men use this to move around. We do not know how to activate it, but if you step upon it, it can take you elsewhere. Sometimes Queen uses it to visit, sometimes Ras Nsi. If you roll the dice, perhaps it can take you where you need to be."
So we could potentially gamble on going, "Hooray, the Queen's chambers," or "Oh shit, hi Ras Nsi."
Yeah. Or it could take you out to the balcony where Zinhorn is.
We got a 1 in 3 chance of this, boys. Let's not take it.
They don't know how to activate it or manipulate it. Zinhorn might have some idea, but it would still be mostly random. Yeah, you could also examine it too.
Yeah. So we'll have a looky-loo. What does a 28 get me?
So, you walk over, enter the small cushioned room, and examine the teleportation circle. From what you're able to glean, it's part of a network of these circles throughout the dungeon. You would hazard a guess that if you were to step upon it and fix in your mind the destination you want to appear at, that is where you will be taken. However, not having been in these destinations, you would only have a vague conception of them, which means that you would only have a slight chance of being able to control the teleportation circle. You are able to glean that based on the type of magic and its strength, there are 5 such circles in the dungeon.
Yeah,
So there's one unknown.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll send step back up and go. Tempting as it is for a straight shot, 1 in 5 isn't exactly good odds. So we know this one here. We know Ras Nsi has one. We know Queen has one. Would you know what the other 2 lead to?
The concubine shakes her head and says, "Ras Nsi placed these circles long after he gained power. For that time, we have been trapped, she looks around, in this room. It has been many long time since we have set foot elsewhere in our home.
Of course.
Well, from their descriptions, it's not that far of a walk. We may as well take the mundane way.
As you turn to walk away, the concubine bites her lip and then she calls out in common. She says, "Wait!" You turn around and she says, "You see before you that there are 12 of us, but there was a 13th, the leader of the concubines, the one who we looked up towards, she who was handpicked by Ras Nsi due to her cunningness and willingness to step out into the outside world. Perhaps if you could find her, she could help you to manipulate the circles. Please, seek out Salida."
Oh, son of a bitch.
Let's see. Of course. Shit.
I'm glad I'm not in the room then.
Yes.
Well, actually, Onyx Kai doesn't know anything about that, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you just see Sir Lucian, Ava, and Alessander just shooting wary looks at each other.
I'll just sort of look back and go, if we come across her, we'll be sure to ask, but who knows, we could get lucky.
You nod. The concubine retreats back into her room, pulling the curtains shut behind her and leaving you alone in the harem with silence other than the sound of the water softly trickling down the central fountain.
All this has been happening, and Zinhorn's used his vines to get back down over and have a look at the door.
Yep. So Zinhorn, you approach this door. I'd like you to make an investigate check.
Well, that's a 16.
The doors appear to be a relatively recent addition to the dungeon. You notice that they are carved out of stone that is a slightly different shade than the rest of the dungeon. And there's a subtle layer of wear and tear on everything else that's not present on these doors. The doors are grand, intimidating yet inviting at the same time, and carved upon them is an image that you vaguely recognize. A half-man, half-snake figure. You recognize the crimson triangle painted brightly on his forehead is a depiction of Ras Nsi.
Does a natural 20 on Arcana depict anything on this door?
This door appears to have no magic, and indeed you find not anything on it that would indicate a trap. Perhaps Ras Nsi is too proud to have any countermeasures placed on the door to his throne room.
And final roll. That's a 13 plus. What's my perception is 8. It's a 21. I just want to have a look around to see is there any other hidden doorways, anything that might be of note for us before we leave this area.
It's possible, though it would be very hard, that you could very possibly squeeze through the pipes in the wall that the blood flows through, and that this would allow you to gain access to the room behind this one to the north. But that would be very difficult to do. Other than that, you can't find anything else in the cathedral other than the cauldron in front of the fountain that still boils on top of a volcanically heated vent.
How big are the pipes?
About 1 foot each.
There are ways I can get through easily, but I wouldn't.
I was going to say, because Onyx is only 2.5 foot tall, he might be able to fit through there.
By the way, the concubines seem to be no danger, and they're not going to sell you out. So if you'd like to take a short rest in the harem, that is a possibility.
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no.
Before if we are going to short rest, then Zinhorn is going to firstly go back into Jakuli form, nice and small, and have a look through the pipe.
Very well. To squeeze through the pipe, please make an athletics or acrobatics check.
Jakuli +4 to athletics. That is a 16 +4, so it's a dirty 20.
Yep, you squeeze through the pipe, pushing yourself through the torrent of blood that keeps pouring towards you, and you're able to get a good look at what awaits in the room to the north. It appears to be some type of altar room. A blood-stained altar stands in the middle of this room. It has shackles bolted to its top and niches carved into its side. Housed in each niche is a human skull. Grooves run down the altar to gutters on the floor, allowing spilled blood to drain into the walls. Clay urns stationed around the room overflow with wet bones and gore. There are 4 Yuan-Ti brood guards currently busy cutting apart pieces of gore and viscera that still sit on top of the altar, being watched over by a Yuan-Ti warlock.
Alright, so Jacuzzi Horn comes back out and makes his way to the rest of the party.
As you come out, you see the party emerging from the harem, and you rejoin up with them, and each of you informs the other of what you found.
And you just see Jacuzzi all covered in blood.
Yep, covered in blood. He slithers towards you, leaving a blood trail across the marbled floors, and then transforms back into his base form and tells you that he took a trip through the pipes and what he found on the other side.
Yeah, basically, short story is what we found was we found out there's teleportation circles, we can gamble on getting there, and unfortunately, don't tell people back in there, but the one person that probably could have told us how to do this was killed, resurrected, and then magically punted off a cliff. I don't regret my decision.
Still worth it.
So what would you like to do?
How long is a short rest?
An hour.
Oh, that actually might be risking being found out.
It might. At the very least, it would give Ras Nsi time to prepare for your arrival.
Fuck. Because we don't know if there's any patrols that are going to go through the basilisk room.
Yeah. And see the Triceratops out of its pen, and all of the Yuan-Ti that are supposed to be attending those animals missing.
We also don't know how many people are asleep in the nesting area, or the sleeping area, and when they're due to...
Yeah, where there's going to be a
whatever
change
they're
of
supposed
guard
to.
or...
Fuck.
Well, if we do continue without a rest, then Zinhorn is out of base shapes.
Shite.
Yeah.
Not to mention that both the cathedral is currently strewn with dead bodies.
Yeah. So then.
Because trust me, I would like a short rest as well, because I get my healing and my action surge back. So
Yes.
I'm not arguing against it just for the sake of arguing against it. I need it as well. And
I don't suppose you'd want to risk a long rest.
you're fucking hilarious. Onyx personally votes we find the queen.
Yep.
If she is as close as was hinted
Well,
at.
if we know that there is the rough whereabouts of where the queen is, and that there is a teleportation circle in the queen's thing, does that give us any sort of advantage? Like,
It would make it slightly more possible to end up there, but it would still be the odds are against you.
That being said, they didn't say that the teleportation circle was in the queen's chamber.
No, just that it would help you get. Just that it was another means of getting to her.
I mean, we could always look to instruct and try and get the Triceratops to go absolutely mental and just cause a big kerfuffle.
Cause a distraction, yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, you basically have three options. You can try the teleportation circle, see where you end up, go through the basilisk room and straight to the queen's chambers, or squeeze through the blood pipes and fight the UNT in the altar room, and go to the queen's chambers from there. Because you're quite certain that the UNT in the altar room will attack you, as Zinhorn described a warlock residing over them.
Yeah.
And you know
But
that
if
the
we can-
warlocks are directly serving Ras Nsi.
Even if we take the roundabout way, we're still going to have to try and stealth, make sure they don't see us going down that corridor.
Well, that would be quite easy though, because they're performing a rite in there, so
Ah.
they're
That being
chopping
said,
up
if we get the queen on our side, maybe the brood guard will rebel against the warlock, because the warlocks get their power from Ras Nsi, so they're out of the question. They're going to help him. But the brood guard, going by their names,
Yeah, usually.
are to defend the brood of the queen. They might still be loyal, but because the queen is now doing what Ras Nsi says, they might just be doing that because the queen is underneath Ras Nsi's control because she's scared of him. Or something.
Makes sense. I just think I'm getting past the basilisk room then, and hopefully not.
I believe basilisks are scary if we have to look at them.
yes, they seem, from what Zinhorn saw, they do appear to be restrained at the moment, but, you know, if they try hard enough, they might have the strength to get free.
would Zinhorn know much about basilisks?
You can make a nature check.
That is a nature check of 14.
So, you know that basilisks are most dangerous when you stare at them. They're quite large and vicious lizards in their own right, and they do produce a rather potent venom, but this is nothing compared to their petrifying gaze. Staring at a basilisk into its eyes may petrify you.
Yeah, we don't need that shit.
Do you know of any weaknesses that a basilisk would have?
They do not appear to have any major weaknesses.
Right.
However, you do know that they're not particularly perceptive and would prefer to simply be left alone to go to sleep if they do not detect a threat.
I'm fine with living the fuck alone.
Yeah, we can potentially walk past them as long as we don't look at them.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, they get their power by the fact that you need to look at them to fight them.
Yeah, and try not to antagonize them, because so they don't wrench themselves free.
Well, we have rations.
Yeah.
Why don't
you
we
could
just
try
throw a
to-
ration at each of them?
Yeah, you can do that.
I like it.
Very well. You make your way up the ramp, past the ruined gong, and into the room with the giant cobra snake. And as soon as you enter, all 4 basilisks begin growling and roaring and straining at the chains that tie them to the wooden stakes, trying desperately to get to you. It is quite obvious that they are underfed to maintain their viciousness.
Of course.
Throw.
He doesn't mess with.
Meanwhile, the Triceratops has curled up in the wreckage of one of the wooden carts and is snoring loudly.
Oh.
I like him. He's just a big kitty cat.
I was gonna say, I was saying just listening to this, it'd be a lot cuter if he didn't still have my blood on one of his horns.
Yeah.
I would just like to throw rations in that general direction of the basilisks.
Yep, please make an animal handling check.
Son of a bitch.
With advantage.
Ava would like to do that.
Ava, if you want to give Ava a ration, she could throw it and do an animal handling check with advantage.
Yes, she will do it with advantage. Oh jeez, not that that would have really mattered anyway. So that's 18 plus 7.
Ava, yep.
Yeah,
she-
25.
You hand a ration to Ava, she nods and steps forwards, and all 4 of the basilisks begin to growl. She turns her head to the right so she's not staring at them, and making a soft, soothing noise, she said, there. She says, there, it's alright, little lizards. Cute little lizards, aren't you? And she hurls rations at each of the basilisks. They stare at her growling for a few moments and more, and then, nipping at each other, they begin to tussle over the rations for a few moments, giving you enough time to quickly make your way through the room.
I'll just send you a message.
Yep. Just taking a look at it. Yes, that would possibly work.
Okay, so before we left the room, Zinhorn summoned a water elemental
Yep.
and got it to go through pipe and just to sort of wait.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Oh, fair
Oh
enough.
my god,
That's your
blood
water.
elementals.
Yeah, as your water elemental goes into the blood and begins to make its way along the pipe, you do notice that the water elemental, being made of pure water, does dilute the colour of the blood a little bit, but not too much.
I also had an idea that if I'd had my own character that had somewhat reasonable animal handling, I would have tried to lead the basilisks into the hallway and let them loose.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't have a character that I'm willing to try that with,
Yes.
because
So-
I'm not risking Ava,
Yeah, you don't want to risk
No,
Ava.
God, no.
So,
and my character just wouldn't be able to do that.
a wide passage slopes down to a set of bronze doors. Coiled serpents decorate the metal, sliding hatch and headlight. 4-inch wide holes covered in gratings pierce the base of the door. You could hear hissing coming from the other side of the door, but this hall itself appears to be empty.
It's as long as the doors stay shut, we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you just like to move through this room quickly and into...
Yes.
Very well. You move into the adjoining corridor and begin creeping down to the east through the dimly lit narrow stone hallway, the green flame light flickering as you make your way through. I'd like all 3 of you to make stealth checks, please. And also,
That's a
yeah, make one for
17.
Ava as well, please.
Plus,
That's a dirty 20.
Dirty
that's
20.
a 22.
I'll make one for Sir Lucian.
Fuck.
That is a 12 for
Um,
Sir Lucian, which is a pass.
Ava got a 19, Onyx got a 3.
Onyx got a 3.
At least this is a group deal.
Yes, it's a group
Oh,
pass.
thank God.
It's a group pass. So, Onyx,
Oh, thank God.
Onyx's footsteps occasionally thump and scuff on the floor, and this combined with Sir Lucian's plate armor rattling and shaking as you creep down the hallway puts you on edge, makes you feel like you're going to be attacked at any moment. The brood guards in the altar room ahead do not look up from their grisly task. You eventually come to a wooden doorway set into the northernmost wall. This, if the concubines were right, is the Queen's quarters. What would you like to do?
Can I summon my echo on the other side of the door?
Yes, though that would probably be interpreted as some kind of attack.
And then immediately swap places with my hands up, no weapons drawn, and in Draconic saying I come in peace.
If you wish.
If the group agrees to it. Because this way I can get past the door without making a sound, and I speak
Yes.
Draconic, so I can have the best chance of parlaying, and if need be I can get out by just swapping back.
Also, what size did I notice was the warlock? What size is?
Just medium. Normal, average size for a yuan.
So it's a medium size. Cool.
Yeah.
Otherwise you can open the door.
It's entirely up to you guys. What would you like to do?
I mean, if we,
Zinhorn's focusing more on the potential threat in the other room.
yeah, I would really, as much as I'd like to parlay for the group, I have one thing going against me right now that might make that difficult. And that's quite honestly the lovely brandished mark of Ras Nsi directly on my forehead.
Yes.
And his stuff.
Yeah, and his staff as well.
So, you know, I got a lot going against me.
Which
on
means
this
any
one.
persuasion checks made while Alessander is present will be done with disadvantage.
I'm going with my plan.
Alright.
Yeah, it's-
Onyx summons his echo on the other side of the door, and then before an instant has passed, he blinks, swapping places with it, the echo standing in the hallway with you. Onyx, you've bypassed the door, and on the other side, you see a haze of incense lingers inside this chamber. Faded murals decorate the walls, and throw rugs and cushions lie scattered on the floor. An engraved chest rests in one corner next to a stone urn covered with snake carvings. A creature with the head and upper body of a dark-skinned woman and the lower body of a serpent coils in the middle of the room. Standing in front of her are two Yuan-Ti Malisons, their scimitars already drawn, advancing towards you.
With my hands up showing that I have nothing in my hands, I say, do I know what her, what a title of one of not of her subjects would call her? Because I wouldn't say my queen, because she's not my queen.
It'd probably just be safest to go with Your Majesty.
Queen.
Yeah, go with
Yeah.
Queen or something. Just a generic term of respect.
In Draconic, I quickly say, Your Majesty, we are here to free you of the control of Ras Nsi. We require your help and are willing to offer services.
Please make a persuade check.
That was a 14 plus 7, 21.
Yeah.
The Yuan-Ti Queen raises a the palm of her hand, halting the advance of the Malices. She does not tell them to sheathe their weapons.
That's
Instead,
understandable.
She just stares at you, and in common, she whispers, "Very well, I am listening, but first explain to me, how is it that you know of Queen Fenthaza, and how is it that you find yourself in this place pledging allegiance to her?"
I personally am not the best to answer that. If you would allow me to let at least one member of my party in here to explain that.
She thinks for a moment, and then she nods, and she says, "Bring them in. However, if they do not explain themselves to my satisfaction, they shall be handily destroyed."
Okay.
Oh fuck, Bobbit has all the fucking oh shit! I was gonna get Bobbit in. Shit!
I mean, you can. You can try to prime. You can try to
I can
prime.
make this work.
Yeah,
Very simple.
I open the door and usher Bobbit in.
Well, as you usher Alessandra Bobbin in,
Alessandra, sorry,
so she puts the mask of disguise self on, doesn't activate it, so it's just a flat mask, and actually takes Mr. Stick and actually puts it in one of her pockets in the coat of many pockets, so it's basically just in the just in her pocket, so it's not just on her as she walks in.
Good thinking. And
Okay, yeah, okay, fair
I'm not
enough.
fucking around with this, I wish you'd kill me instantly otherwise.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And as I usher Alessandra Bobbit in, I go to the others, just please stay calm.
You
Yes,
open
Alessandra
the
walks
door.
in and, I was
Yep.
gonna say, she walks in and immediately takes a knee in front of the queen.
As Alessandra walks in, the two Malices twitch, almost as if they're about to pounce. Fenthaza raises a palm, halting them once again. As Alessandra steps into the room, Bulb's mask of disguise covering her face, but not her long blonde hair, and Mr. Stick absent. As she takes a knee, Fenthaza's eyes grow wide, and she says, "Well, well, well. If it is not Alessandra Raybert, the prodigal child of Mesro. Interesting indeed."
As she says this with a small voice, because obviously her presence is thing here, just looks up and goes, "I am honored that someone as mighty as the Queen of Omu would know of my name."
She nods, and she says, "Indeed, the peace between our kind was tenuous, but it did exist, thanks to the agreement between myself and your father, the only one of Uptow's chosen willing to coexist with my kind. He would allow my kind to exist, would even allow us to conduct raids in the jungles, so long as we left Mesro and its allied city-states entirely alone." She says, I had heard rumblings, mostly from Ras Nsi, that Alessandra was still out there. Now, this is very interesting indeed. In fact, Ras Nsi has spent the last several days shouting your name, calling for you to come and speak to him, and yet you come to me.
Well, for obvious reasons, when one visits the home of the Yuan-Ti, they go to the highest authority, not the one who claims to be as such.
Fenthaza smiles, and she says, "Your father has taught you well. The other chosen of Uptow would like nothing more than to stamp Yuan-Ti out of existence. After all, we are not exactly what most people would call kind-hearted or good creatures." She flashes you a cool smile.
Alessandra just shrugs and goes, "There is good to be found even in the darkest of evils, such as there is darkness found in the brightest of goods. One need only look past that to see a true person's worth."
She laughs, and she says, "You have your father's wit. So, I am listening. You have made your presence known. You have correctly identified me as the sovereign of Omu. Please, whatever proposal is on your lips, speak it and I shall listen."
Very well, thank you, your Majesty. We seek the destruction of Ras Nsi. For too long, he has meddled in the affairs of both Mesro and your people in ways that should never have happened, the disappearance of Mesro being one of. Now he stands as he usurped your position and left you in this state, as sad as it is to see. We, for obvious reasons, any aid you could possibly give us in the removal of his position of power would be most beneficial if you are so willing.
Please make a persuade check. You may make it with advantage as you are Alessandra and Onyx has already primed her.
Good to hear. I'm really glad you gave me that because that is a 21. That 3 on the other side was not making me happy.
Fanthaza smiles and says, "The destruction of Ras Nsi. Yes, yes." And as she says this, you hear Mr. Stick's voice in your head just saying, "I said we will not destroy him until you hear him out."
Yeah, and immediately you get both Bobbit and Alessandra going, Alessandra first in her head goes, "And we will hear him out. But know that his time is short either way." Even Bobbit's sitting there going, "Yeah, I'm not arguing. Bobbit's not arguing here. Bobbit's gonna sit quietly. Bobbit misses her friends."
You test me, child. I am in half a mind to take away a spell slot. Fanthaza just smiles and she says, "It would not be befitting for myself to fight Ras Nsi. He knows my weaknesses. I rue the day that my scouts found him in the jungles outside Omu on the verge of death. I curse myself for allowing his words to sway me that he would prove to be a valuable asset, that he would allow me to forge an empire of my own now that after Mesro had fallen. Instead, after I turned him into a Malison and restored him to health, he ousted me and, using his powers, quickly enforced his will on the entire tribe." She says, "So, I cannot fight him myself, but if you are sure you can destroy him, I will offer the assistance of my bodyguards." She gestures towards the 2 Malisons in front of her. "And something else, though this would depend on whether, like your father, you are utterly devoted to your god Uptow, or whether you see the benefit in doing what must be done."
Alessandra looks and goes, "For starters, you need not curse yourself over the deception of Ras Nsi. He is powerful both in darkness and in tongue. Many have been persuaded by his words, even now, these years later. And as for Uptow, for reasons that unfortunately have also brought me here today, I am not currently well favored by him for situations outside my own control. I would like to show you something if you are willing to stay your hand and, as you say, do what he'll assist in what needs to be done."
She nods, saying
As
nothing.
such, Bobbit, Alessandra stands up and goes, "When you question why we would be so keen on the destruction of Ras Nsi," and slowly lowers the mask off her head going, No one is more intent on his destruction than myself.
Her reaction is contrary to what you expected. You expected her to gasp or at least squirm at the sight of your face and Ras Nsi's symbol. Instead, she merely smiles and says, "Interesting indeed. I feel if there is one suited to destroy Ras Nsi, it may indeed be you." She folds her arms together and she says, "Hear me out then. In addition to assistance from my bodyguards, I have here in my chambers the components necessary to undergo a ritual. A ritual, if you will allow it, that will transform you permanently into a Yuan Ti pureblood." She breathes, she takes a moment of silence and says, "If, of course, you would be willing to turn your back on Ubtao by doing so."
As I kind of, she ponders for a moment, pauses, and goes, Tao and I are not on particular speaking terms, and while I have no desire to truly turn against him, as you said, I know what must be done for the sake of our future, both Mesra's future and Omer's. If this will aid in his destruction and removal from his wretchedness from this existence, then I will allow this.
"Well spoken," she says.
And then, as she goes to say something else, see Alexander winces for a second and goes, I have to ask a question from an odd perspective. She looks to both the bodyguards surrounding her and goes, with no offense, of course, but will I keep my legs?
She just laughs and says, "You have seen no Yuan Ti purebloods without legs." "Indeed, no. The fact that they have legs is what places them at the very bottom of the hierarchy. A Yuan Ti must prove that he or she is worthy to be transformed into a Malison, to cast away her legs and embrace the body of the serpent."
See, once again, Alexander just sort of closes her eyes, and you just sort of quietly hear him mutter, "There, does that answer your question? Happy now?"
Fenthasa turns around and begins rifling through a series of cushions and silks and makes her way over to the chest in the corner of the room, retrieves something, spends about 5 minutes doing something. Behind her back, you hear the sound of rattling glass and pouring liquid, and then she turns around and holds out to you a small glass bottle containing a thick green concoction.
I take it this wouldn't. I take it there is obviously some risk in this ritual of yours.
She smiles and she says, "Of course. The concoction to transform you into a Yuan Ti pureblood is primarily comprised of Yuan Ti and serpent venom, but it is the magical components that I have added that provide the chance that will allow you to survive and undergo the change. Either way, once you drink it, you will know within the hour."
Try to look at the timeline here, because obviously we don't want to sit around for much longer, but...
As if reading your mind, she smiles and says, "While you are undergoing the change, I will of course permit your companions to rest here in my chambers for your protection."
There is one more thing I have to ask before we go any further. We know for a fact that something deep within Ras Nsi's within this chamber, there is a Hydra. if you align yourselves with us, is there any risk of that coming after us? Do not question, I know, but we'd like as few obstacles to get to Ras Nsi as possible.
She nods and says, "The Hydra is Ras Nsi's pet, but before it belonged to him, it was mine. Indeed, I raised that Hydra from the egg. When you move to Ras Nsi's throne room, I will make my way to the Hydra's den and convince it to remain with me."
Excellent. Alexander turns to Onyx and goes, "You might want to bring the rest in here and prepare for some small arguments. I'm sure this news is going to go over so smoothly."
Sure.
You push open
I
the
bring them
door
in.
and admit the rest of the party. Well, Emmett, would you like to tell the rest of the party what is going on?
Okay, well, yes, Alexander will basically let the rest of it going. Okay, so, good news, we have ourselves an accord with with Her Majesty here. She's going to aid us in our campaign against Ras Nsi and has provided me with a small boon which will only potentially kill me if things go wrong, but it will definitely cement our position to move against him. Also, Bobbit says, please don't be mad.
You then hold out the bottle that Fenthaza provided you. Fenthaza herself smiles and says, "I have given Alessander the means to transform herself into a Yuan Ti. The change will be permanent, but it will be an invaluable boon." You see Ava in particular immediately startle, and she calls out, "My baby!"
I understand. I was going to say, sort of like looks over at Zinhorn as well, who I'm guessing is
Not overly thrilled at the thought of this change, but
I was going to say, yeah, noticing Zinhorn sort of look, just see a small smile going, "Don't worry, I'm sure I'll be slightly more easier to work with than the last one."
well, as long as you don't turn your back on me, I will go with this decision that you have. I'm sure you've had a lot of thought in coming into terms with this. But how long will this process take?
Fenthaza says, "Within the hour, Alessander's body will change. I will of course allow you to watch over her and rest here in my chambers. Nobody will think to look for you here."
And with this change, will all the other tests that Ras Nsi has set up for us, will this aid us in getting past those without her tussle?
She just shrugs and says, "It may, although, if I am to understand it, the way to Ras Nsi's throne room is open for you."
That's true.
I actually have a question regarding that.
Go ahead.
I also want to insight her to see if she's being honest.
Yep, go ahead, make an insight check.
That is in 23.
She seems to be honest, however, you get the feeling that she is only agreeing to this because there's something in it for her.
Yeah, that's fine. We can look at that.
Well, yeah, I mean, she gets her throne back, so she'll be most interested in taking that back.
Onyx goes, "So, we've found out about the teleportation circles, and that's quite a nice bit of magic there, by the way. That's very ingenious. We've been told that there is a circle inside Ras Nsi's chambers.
She nods. She says, "Indeed, and this," she sweeps away some of the cushions beside her, revealing another teleportation circle, "will take you there."
Oh, fun.
Would you, perchance, be willing to help us teleport directly to his chambers to get a surprise on him?
She says, "Indeed. My guards will step upon the portal first. This will prime it, so that when you step upon it, it will transport you either directly to Ras Nsi's throne room or to his bedchamber."
Fun. Okay, before we get into this whole shindig, some shit's going to get very deep. I'm going to be right back.
Yep.
Well, both of those seem like the best options we have, as long as we don't end up elsewhere and surrounded by other enemies.
Then Tharza nods, and then she raises a hand and she says, "Before you agree to this, I want to make it known. I will uphold my part of the deal. I need to know if you will uphold your part. That is, once I am restored to the throne, you will never interfere in the workings of the Yuan-Ti. If you hear that we raid in the jungle, you leave us be. If you encounter our agents disguised in Port Nyanzaru, you leave them be. Furthermore, in order to cement my authority as the queen of all Yuan-Ti, I ask that you acquire for me a particular treasure, a crown affixed with black opals. It is a symbol of power in Old Omu, and it can be found within the Tomb of the Nine Gods."
Well, you know what? It's lucky that we're heading there. Out of character, does that sound like the same deal that she had with Alessandra's father?
It may or may not be. The part of it was the part of him not interfering in Yuan-Ti activities was definitely part of the deal. But this is the first you've heard of this crown emblazoned with black opals.
What did I miss?
So basically, Fenthaza was just saying that if you agree to her assistance, she must ask that you hold up your side of the bargain, which is that you never interfere in Yuan-Ti activities. If you hear of them raiding in the jungle, you do not seek them out. If you hear of Yuan-Ti agents in Port Nyanzaru or any other civilized place, you do not interfere. And furthermore, you acquire for her a treasure that is considered a symbol of power in Old Omu, a black opal crown which is contained within the Tomb of the Nine Gods.
Okay.
She says, if you ever fall back on any of these agreements, Alessandra's transformation will reverse itself. Furthermore, you'll be declared an enemy of my kind.
As long as the agents and raids are acting according to civilization.
The dealer rolled.
Yeah,
She just
you no need
flashes.
to interfere with your business.
She flashes you a cruel smile and says, "Just so you know, the raids will be to acquire slaves and sacrifices for our ceremonies. The infiltration of civilization will be to ensure that the merchant princes work in our interests unknowingly. I will be open with you. Many of the things we will be doing are, by the standards of your kind, evil."
I personally am not a fan of this. But there is a greater evil that is out at the moment. And I feel that in order to surpass this one evil, you are not the most evil here, so I can somewhat agree to this.
Can we have a clause that a renegotiation can be on the table after 50 years?
Please make a persuade check.
Can I give him advantage?
Yep, go ahead.
Also, when doing raids, can we outline certain areas where you will not go near? because there are some good folk out there who we are allied with. And
21.
She nods and she says, I will be amenable to renegotiations after 5 decades. Furthermore, as a sign of good faith, we will raid only to the east and south for the first 10 years.
Are there any places that we've been to the east and south?
No, nowhere you've been to.
No.
Nowhere that you've been
Where
to.
we've been. No.
Onyx looks at Zenhorn and goes, I don't know who you're talking about, but that does give 10 years to prepare.
Well, talking about our growing allies over there, first and foremost,
Yes,
Yeah.
well,
we have helped keep their peace, and I would not like their peace to be ruined because they keep losing their people to these raids.
yes. We are in a sticky situation now, and she has agreed to 10 years of preparation for them.
I've told her, I've mentioned this to her with a very fierce glance directed at her that are our allies.
I believe I have much to apologize for dragging us into this situation, but as you say, there are far worse things to prepare for.
Fenthaza nods and she says, Very well, Zinhorn Aloro. Due to the weight that your name carries among myself and my kind, I will agree. We will raid only to the south for 10 years, and furthermore, the targets of our raids will be nomads and jungle dwellers only. We will not raid in civilized lands.
Hearing that part, you see Alessandro look up and going, and so looks at Zinhorn going, what weight does your name carry?
Then one just looks over and says, I appreciate that, and with this deliberation, I can accept your terms.
She nods.
And just moves to the corner and just sort of starts concentrating.
Alessander, do you drink the potion?
Ah, fuck it, let's get crazy.
You
As
raise...
she
Yep.
goes through, she does offer a small prayer to Otto, going, I know we're not on speaking terms, and I'm sure you will not be a fan of this, but know that even with our differences, I still wish to follow, and I still wish to do what's right, even if it comes at great personal cost.
You hear no response from
Wasn't
Uptown
expecting it.
As-
Wasn't expecting it.
as you bring the glass bottle to your lips and swallow the venom. Please make a DC 18 con save.
Oh boy! Con save. We're gonna get con saves. Of course I bloody don't. Come on. Holy
Whoa.
shit, that's a nat 20!
Nat 20.
Nice.
It was meant to be.
Yay!
I will be
Tesla,
right
I
back.
die.
Yep. Alessander downs the venom. She looks at you all, already pale in the face, that before you have a chance to exchange words, she drops to the floor, unconscious.
Cool.
May take a short rest.
Hooray!
In addition, Alessander, you gain the following benefits.
Uh-huh.
Increase your charisma by 2 and your intelligence by 1.
Oh my god! Yay! Wait, how does my intelligence works if I'm wearing the headband of intelligence?
It goes up to... Well, it goes up to basically what it was before you put that on. It gets 1 to that. So it's going to be
Okay.
19 either way.
That's
But-
still 19.
Yeah, but your base intelligence goes up by 1. So charisma plus 1, intelligence plus 2.
You said, no, he was charisma
Intel-
plus 2.
yeah,
which
to
is
intelligence plus 1. Yes.
awesome. My charisma's
You-
now at 20. Fuck
Yes.
yes.
You gain dark vision to a range of 60 feet. You have advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects.
Wait, what, do you say that again?
You have advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects.
Oh.
You are immune to poison damage and the poisoned condition.
Okay.
You are able to speak, read, and write Draconic.
Oh, sweet!
You know the poison spray cantrip.
Okay, God, this is gonna take a minute.
You can cast Animal Friendship an unlimited number of times at will, but only on snakes.
Fair. Okay. Let's mark down that the sheet lays out. So-
And you can cast Suggestion once per long rest.
Oh, so animal friendship against snakes. Shit.
So during this hour, my water elemental has disappeared.
Yep, but you may take a short rest.
Snakes. Okay, I'm guessing he has to be on this later as well, just to make sure I have it.
Yeah, I'll give it all the stuff to you later. But and then you may spend as many hit dice as you like to recover health.
Yay!
I used one and got back up to 81 out of 84.
Lovely.
Oh boy, isn't this magical? Might as well burn enough to burn 2 to get myself back to full. So I figure from here I'm gonna need all the health I can get. Okay, I think I get everything. Yeah, even more languages. This is. Sorry for the way, just putting stuff down as quickly as possible. It's an absolute mess, but I'd like to do.
Would you like to know the bad part now?
I'm guessing there was always going to be a bad part.
Yuan-Ti purebloods have very muted emotions, and as such, eventually come to see others as tools to manipulate. As such, they care little for law and chaos. Your alignment becomes neutral evil.
Hooray! Yay! Oh boy. Well, it's not gonna be happy about this. At least it's neutral, so I don't think I go out of my way to be a dick.
Yes, you don't have to go out of your way to be a dick, but you know, having Yuan-Ti raiding for slaves over the next 50 years doesn't seem to bother you as much now.
Yeah,
You do what must be done.
Oh boy, Dad is gonna be so disappointed. This is clearly the teenage breakout phase. What do I want to do, Dad? Shush.
And so you watch and wait as Alessander lies unconscious for the hour. You rest and recover, tend to your wounds, and you see over the course of the hour, Alessander's skin begins to grow, begins to change, being overtaken by a pale green tinge, and strange lumps and growths begin to appear, popping out of her skin and running all down her arms and legs and other exposed areas. By the end of the hour, these growths have mutated into scales. And within 50 minutes, as Alessander lies unconscious on the ground, the transformation runs its course until her skin is nothing more than pale green scales, subtly shining in the flickering green candlelight. And when she finally opens her eyes, underneath them you see nothing but red slits, the eyes of a serpent, as she opens her mouth and groans. Shaking the grogginess away, you notice that her tongue has been cleaved down the middle into a fork. And Onyx, you may have a short rest for yourself and
Okay.
Ava.
Cool, thank you.
So you were having a short rest while Alessander was transforming.
Yeah.
Yay for all the fun bonuses and that one tiny little minor detriment that will probably not get us in trouble later. Don't worry about it.
21. That puts me to 93.
Anyone just looks
Well,
over
the
to
fact that I
Alex
basically
and
looked as far down the alignment
Yeah.
shows I could possibly gone in one swift motion.
That said, Alessander, this is not permanent. You can eventually change your alignment back. You just have to resist this. Resist this innate feeling that pure bloods eventually develop of seeing others as nothing more than tools.
Zinhorn just looks at Alessander and just goes, "This is gonna take some getting used to."
I am back to full health.
Yes.
Yeah.
And-
so just like examining herself and just going, you're telling me this is going to be a new one. And just sort of looks and goes, going to have to work on how the tongue works now as well.
As you look down and see your new skin, Alessander, in any other situation, you might freak out a little bit that your body has taken on yet more changes, but with your new muted emotions, the most you can manage is a slight, innocent curiosity at your new form.
Works for me.
Fedthasa gestures towards the teleportation circle, and she says, "When you are ready."
Guess now's as good a time as any.
I am going to summon my shadow to come with us.
That's a good idea.
Yes, so I don't have to use the bonus action.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So how long does he stay for?
Forever.
Ah, yeah, until you dismiss it.
He stays until... On your where are you? It lasts until it is destroyed, until I dismiss it as a bonus action, or until I manifest another echo, or I'm incapacitated.
Lovely.
Which is why this was an unearthed arcana.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough, but that's why I'm allowing it, I know that, so that's okay.
Yeah.
You conjure your shadow, and then Fenthaza's two guards walk onto the teleportation circle. They are engulfed in a flash of light, and they disappear. Next, you and your shadow step onto the teleportation circle. Do the rest of you step on?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Alright, I'm just going to reset the music.
Yep. Ooh, pardon me. This is gonna be fun!
Yes, it will be. Okay. As you step onto the teleportation circle, you're engulfed in light and you hear the whispers of 1,000 snakes in your
So,
ears.
It's just as long as, or can you attune to things in a short rest as well?
Yeah, you can attune to things in a short
It
rest.
takes 1 hour to attune something,
so you can
unless it
attune.
specifically states
You
otherwise.
finished. Oh,
I-
you got his shield.
I am now attuned to shield.
You are.
Oh yeah.
The light disperses, and when it does, you find yourselves in Yuan T's throne room. 4 pillars support the vaulted ceiling, and steps ascend to an iron throne carved in the likeness of a hydra. Painted on the wall behind it is a large red triangle. To the south, an engraved stone disc, the teleportation circle, is set into the floor of an alcove. A 10-foot wide opening in the east wall leads to a flooded cave. Ras Nsi, coiled on his throne, simply smiles as you emerge in the room.
This is gonna go well.
He narrows his eyes and he says, "Ah! Sir Lucian, Ava, the heroes of Waterdeep, and Alessander Rayburton, And Zinhorn Eloro, welcome. He looks over at Alessandra. He says, Alessandra or Bobbert, which one was it again?
One or the other, take your pick. Or should I call you Mr. Stick?
He just smiles and uncoils his serpent's harp. He looks at Alessandra and Zinhorn. He says, You know more than I expected, but do you truly know who I am? I would like Zinhorn to please make an intelligence check.
Oh, he's a 17.
Zinhorn, you stare at this monstrosity before you, looking into his face. Close your eyes, and unbidden, a memory from your childhood emerges, a memory that you have tried so hard over the last 200 years to suppress. You are a child, perhaps no more than 20 years old, barely more than a toddler or an elf. You stand on a balcony overlooking a vast city of stone. You do not know it at the time, but as an adult, now that you stare at Ras Nsi, now that you've met Alessandra and been to Mesro, you understand where you are. You are standing on a balcony attached to the diplomatic quarter overlooking the city of Mesro. Your parents, diplomats of a neighbouring elven kingdom to the east, the elven land of Bakumora, are here as a sign of good faith and to establish an alliance with Mesro, so that both people, humans and elves, and so that humans, Tabaxian elves, may all unite under Ubtao. You don't know where your parents are. You cower as Ras Nsi leads an army of undead through the streets below. The undead attack citizens trying to get away and lay waste to anything they come upon. Ras Nsi laughs maniacally, his voice echoing maniacally through the city that he intends to claim for himself. You do not know where your parents are. They simply told you to wait and to hide, while they did their best to assist the Chosen of Ubtao in the defense of the city. The memory fades away. You look at Alessandra to your left. You look at Ras Nsi and you nod. You know all too well who he is.
If this was a cartoon, you would see like daggers coming out of his eyes, steam coming out of his ears. Zinhorn is just full of this overwhelming
rage, anger. It is thanks to Ras Nsi that you lost everything. Your parents, and even more. Somehow, you survived what happened in Mesro. How, you still cannot remember. But the years after that were marked with despair and loss, as no matter where you ended up in Cholt, the citizens, the people you would meet there would shun you due to your magic abilities, associating magic with Ras Nsi and the conquest of Cholt, the decimation of the Tabaxi Empire and all civilization. You simply drifted in the jungle for longer than you cared to remember, until finally the druids found you, and you began your life in the Emerald Enclave. Ras Nsi nods and smiles. He says, yes, you remember. Alessandra, do you know how you come to be in my presence today?
Not as much as I should, though it comes back in bits and pieces, no thanks to you.
He smiles, and the tip of his tail, the tip of his tail jiggles as if he's overtaken by glee, and with a cold smile he simply says, "I am in no rush. Will you allow me a brief monologue?"
Please, might as well while you're here.
He sighs and smiles once again. He says, "Do you know that just like your father, I too was once a chosen of Uptown, one of the 12 Barre of Mesro?"
Until your unceremonious removal, yes.
He says, "Yes. I, in my meditations, encountered something speaking to me, hidden within the Shadowfell, and informed me that I had much greater potential, that there was power waiting for me if only I would claim it. I prayed to Ubtao, prayed for him to spare me from this voice, this entity within the Shadowfell, but Ubtao did nothing. He did not respond to my prayers, and as such I gave in to the only voice that would listen, that thing in the Shadowfell. I turned away from Ubtao. He stripped me of my immortality. I attempted several contingency plans. I did what any spellcaster would do when seeking immortality. I sought to become a lich. I cast aside 2 of my dear possessions to serve as phylacteries. But when I conducted the ritual, something went wrong. I was unable to fully pass into lichdom, and I would have torn my soul asunder to drift on the winds of the ethereal plane, to simply cease to exist, until the demons from the abyss made contact with me and agreed to grant me the immortality I wished, so long as I would make do on my side of the promise. My promise to seek out the Yuan Ti, to assert control over them, and to work with them to bring Dendar the Night Serpent into existence. A promise that had no time limit, and so I paid it no mind, became king of the Yuan Ti, and was content until Asarak brought the Soulmonger into the Tomb of the 9 Gods and enacted the Death Curse. You see, I too have beaten death, and my soul deteriorates with each passing day. I still do not know what happened in Mesro, only that it nearly brought me to death. And you, Alessander, it was you who, in the aftermath of that, found yourself in the Chult that you have journeyed through. You and your companions eventually stumbled upon my wizard tower that I had established in those precarious months after leaving Uptown. While you were in there, you were drawn to 2 of my possessions. The 2 possessions I had intended to use as phylacteries, my hat and my staff. When your father expelled me from Mesro, when he removed Mesro from the material plane, he sought to shatter my soul, to destroy me so that I would not terrify Chult again. All he managed to do was tear my soul into 3. Most of it remained within me, but 2 important pieces of myself were flung away into my staff, my drive, my desire to accrue power. When you took a hold of that staff, Alessander, when you placed your hands around it, Mr. Styx saw his chance. That ambitious part of me recognized your potential for power and granted it to you. The other piece of my soul, that small fragment of goodness that still remained within me, the childlike innocence, that drive for curiosity to do the right thing, an almost childlike obsession with experiencing all the world had to offer. was flung into my hat. And, Alessander, when you placed that hat upon your person, a piece of my soul within imposed itself upon your body and began to manifest its own personality. You never thought the name Bobbert was strange? That piece of my soul, divorced from my intellect, simply tried the best it can to construct a name that sounded fitting and human. He said, now you have welcomed that part of my soul, whether you intended to or not. The hat lies inert, and Bobbert, as that persona, as that piece of my soul has taken to calling itself, resides with you, Alessander, in your body. 2 souls, 1 being. He simply smiles, and Alessander, you flash back to Waterdeep, almost 2 years ago, so long ago, descending into the sewers below Waterdeep, when Bolby Saw attempts to cast light on your hat, only to be struck by energy emanating from it. That, of course, all those adventures, they were Bobbert's, and not yours. Yes, everybody? At that time, M2 was playing as the Hat.
Howdy.
In fact, that was the original idea for Bobbert's character. He wanted to play as a sentient hat.
Interesting.
Except when the hat got taken off the body became lifeless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that idea.
Vaguely.
Yes.
Because that was the idea that you were telling me in the first campaign.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before I even joined.
That was
Except-
long before you even joined.
Except, Bobbert and Alessander failed to take into account that that was a piece of Ras Nsi's soul in the hat, and it wasted no time, forcing its way into Alessander's body, no longer residing in the hat, residing in her body itself. Thus, now, no longer wearing the hat, Alessander / Bobbert stands before you. 2
Yes.
personas sharing a
And
single
you-
body.
As you see her taking in this information, the half dead, the dead side of her face, which is obviously the side effect of that one, actually, Alessander herself looks absolutely fuming and pissed, but the eye that is on the dead side of her face actually has tears running out of it as this realization sets in. Somewhere within her head, Bobbert is crying.
And as the realization sets in, you hear Mr. Stick's voice in your brain. I have heard enough. Destroy this imposter so that I may absorb his soul. As he says that, Ras Nsi, the one in flesh, smiles and says, Mr. Stick is merely a pale imitation of myself, Alessander. I offer my own proposal to you. Cast aside Mr. Stick, place yourself in my service, and, in my stead, journey into the Tomb of the 9 Souls. Destroy the Soulmonger, so that I no longer suffer from the death curse. I will let you go in peace. I will provide the puzzle cubes that you seek, and I will provide you power far greater than that shred of a soul could ever grant.
Hearing that proposal, Alessander sort of looks and goes, but if something like that was within your grasp, surely a immortal being as yourself couldn't just venture into the tomb itself and grant it and destroy it. If you're so powerful. What
He
could possibly
smiles.
be in that tomb, what could possibly be in that tomb that the great Ras Nsi, the self-proclaimed king of Omu, would fear?
You see his eye twitch ever so slightly. His smile turns into an angry frown, and he simply says, It is of no matter. You will find out for yourself. Now, I see already that you have no intention of agreeing to my proposal, and so I have had enough. You shall die and the fragments of my soul that rest in your body and in that staff shall return to me. He lazily signals to his bodyguards. Kill them. Roll for initiative, please.
Fuck off. That is a 6 for Onyx
Yep, 6 for Onyx.
and a 23 for Ava.
Ooh, well, Ava got a good one.
That is a 23 for Zinhorn.
23 for Zinhorn. And Alessander.
17 for Alexander, though. It'd be really happy if the Queen would make an appearance, because there's a number of guys in here that don't look like they would follow if she was involved, but I suppose she has her own.
And that will be an 18 for the enemy.
Oh,
Shit. Of course I go after them.
Okay. Prepare yourself. Here we go.
Hmm.
I'm gonna grab the boss music, because I think we definitely need boss
Oh.
music.
Oh yeah, yes.
I was
please,
just
please
playing
go for
Ras
fun
Nsi's
music.
theme then. That is his official
That was a
theme that you were
nice-
hearing.
That was a nice theme. And yeah, that Ras Nsi is one ugly motherfucker.
Don't compliment Ras Nsi.
Oh, I bet his theme is okay. Look, all the bad guys tend to get a cooler theme. It's just a fact.
Loop. Yep. Yeah, he's got a cool theme, but
Yeah, all evil beings get cool music. Hey, Alessandro could probably start working through some good tunes now.
okay. Zinhorn, you are up first.
Still shooting daggers towards Ras Nsi. This, my past, is all you're doing. The pain, the suffering, the isolation, everything is your doing. You will not be as lucky as I was to survive. And in this moment, Zinhorn transforms into the Ice Spider Queen and shoots the icy web and just grabs him, wraps him up, restrains him.
Alright, go ahead. Roll to restrain him. Roll to hit him.
So that is a dirty 20.
Dirty
Yes.
20. That is a hit. Okay. He's going to... does he need to make a save?
The target is restrained by the webbing, takes 2d4 cold damage at the start of its turn, and as an action, it can attempt to make a strength save.
Yep, so you shot web at him. He attempts to struggle, but the webbing coils around him, restricting his movement, and the
Whilst,
triangle on his head glows red in anger.
whilst it's wrapped up, Zinhorn's going to move over to the wall here and
Yep.
use spider form to just climb up
Onto the
as
wall.
far as he can.
Yep, you climb up to the top of the ceiling and perch there. At the end of your turn, Ras Nsi uses a legendary action to cast Chill Touch with disadvantage because of him being restrained on Alessander. So that would be... Oh, right, that will be with disadvantage, plus 7 to hit. That is a 18.
And that does not hit. I was gonna say, even if he wasn't restrained, it's still at disadvantage. Because I had disadvantage against my magic now. Yay!
Yes.
It's against my magic.
The
Yes.
bolt of necrotic energy flies out of his hand, but being restrained by webs, he's unable to properly aim, and he's a couple meters off from hitting you. It is now Sir Lucian's turn.
What did Sir Lucian get? Because Ava got a 23 as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Ava gets to go first then.
Yeah.
Sir Lucian's got 19.
No. Shit. No, they cannot be reasoned with. I was trying to ask Kitty and she only just got back to me.
Yeah.
Because I asked her if she wants to take out the ads or if she wants to attack the sea.
It's like, no.
I'll be back in a moment. Roll
Sure.
a 4 on the cold webbing damage.
Yep.
Okay, Ava is going to fly 10 feet into the air,
Yep.
and then she's going to fire at Ras Nsi.
Yep.
And is that with advantage because one he's
It's
pinned
only
and two-
melee attacks that get advantage with restrained.
Okay, well, is she higher than him?
Yes, she is, so she gets advantage.
Cool. That is a 17 plus 9, so 26.
That's a hit. Roll your damage.
So she's going to declare him a favourite foe with that hit.
Yep.
So that is 8 plus 4, so that's 12. 1 psychic, and the favoured foe is 1d6.
And d6, yep.
Which is a 2. So,
okay.
yeah, 12, 2, and 1.
Very well.
And then she's going to hit him again with a ranged attack.
Go ahead.
And that's, hey, 2 16s plus 9, so 25.
25, lovely.
And then favoured foe is once per turn? Or is it every hit?
First hit per turn.
First hit per turn, okay, so it's just normal. Oh, that's another max damage, so that's 12.
12, okay.
Oh, pardon me.
So, that is...
Yep.
Yeah.
And then she's going to fly in this path, diagonally up to here,
Yep.
and then over here.
Yep, spreads her wings, flies into the entrance of the room. Very well. It is Sir Lucian's turn. Sir Lucian rushes up to UNT Broodguard 1. He raises his sword and goes to attack it. That is a 13, and that is 10 points of damage. He goes again. That is a 28. Plus 8. That is 12 points of damage, and he is actually going to use one of his maneuvers. He's going to use goading attack. So he rolls to hit it again. 20 plus 11. That is 22, so that is another d8 plus 8. Another 14 plus his superiority die. That is 2. He brings the Broodguard down to its knees, and it fails its save and must only attack him. It is now... and at the end of Ava's turn, Ras Nsi fires a chill touch at Ava.
Okay.
And that will be with disadvantage. That will be a 12, so it misses. He then fires one at Sir Lucian, and that misses. Sir Lucian raises his shield and blocks it. Okay, it is the enemy's turn. Ras Nsi automatically regenerates 10 hit points.
Son of a bitch.
He took 4 from being in the cold web.
He did, I've already subtracted that.
Cool.
And he is going to make a strength save, and he's going to use one of his legendary resistances, so he's going to choose to pass that save to break out of the webbing. And then he is going to cast Circle of Death. Actually, no, he's not, because that'll kill his own people. He is going to instead cast. Just look at his spells. Sorry, I have to.
No, that's fine.
It's fine. I'm waiting on this with absolute fear in my heart.
Where he is going to cast. He's going to cast Avard's Black Tentacles. Dark black. I have to draw this on the map. No, that's a measure. How do you draw on this?
What does the spell actually do?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what it does. I just have to draw it on.
Yeah,
There
the
we go.
actual paintbrush, has the shape tools on it as well.
In this 20 by 20 foot square, black tentacles suddenly emerge from the floor, attempting to grasp around you. This area is now difficult terrain. And furthermore, when a creature enters this area or starts its turn here, they may succeed on a dex save or take 3d6 bludgeoning damage and are restrained by the tentacles.
Yeah, no. You watch as Alessander, as this starts forming, Alessander pulls a small scroll out of
out of her pocket and uses the scroll of counter magic, or counter
A
spell.
counter spell. Yep. You counter that. Ras Nsi smirks and he says, "Ah, it seems my counterpart has taught you better than I expected." Instead, he reaches for the sword hilt on his belt, withdraws a long sword, and as he holds it aloft, it begins to burst and crackle with flame. He slithers over to Alessander and rolls to hit you with his flame-tongued longsword.
Okay, I really wish I could use long swords now.
That is an 11 to hit. You block it with your shield. Okay. UNT Broodguard 4 goes towards Onyx and makes 2 claw attacks. That is a 9 and a nat 20.
Yeah, the nat 20 definitely.
That
hits.
is 14 points of piercing damage. And it then makes a bite attack, which it misses with a 7.
Yep.
UNT Broodguard 2 moves up to Alessander, makes its claw attacks against Alessander. That is a 10 and 11, and its bite attack is a 16. It's unable to land to hit. UNT Malison 2 raises its short bow and fires its Sinhorn on the wall. And that will be a 7 and a 12 to hit, so unable to hit
Neither hits.
Sinhorn.
But
Oh, it does hit you, yes, okay.
no, it's got a AC of 14.
Okay, yep, so you don't hit, yep. And UNT Malison 1 fires his bow at Alessander. That is 2 7s to hit. Alessander blocks with her shield. Venthaza's guard number 1 engages Broodguard 3 and deals 18 points of damage to it. Venthaza's guard 2 engages Broodguard 4, deals 14 points of damage to it. Okay, it is now Alessander's turn.
Alright, talking is a free action, correct?
It is, yes.
Okay, so before Alessander actually takes her action, she's going to look in around the room and just go, Broodguard, we know that you serve this wretched defiler of your throne, but your queen will take the throne back. If you assist us, she will find favor with you, no doubt. Aid us in this combat, strike back at the one who enslaved your race, and we shall ensure that you are rewarded.
The Broodguards look at you, and you notice the blankness on their faces. They have been utterly
that's right.
dominated by Ras Nsi.
Oh, you know, they say it was worth a shot.
Yep.
Instead, we'll just look at Ras Nsi and goes, okay, then plan B. And Alessander is going to use the Dark Shard amulet around her neck to cast a chill touch of her own on Ras Nsi.
Yes, go ahead, roll to hit him.
It's not going to do
good.
much
No,
damage.
I don't have
For
to.
the love of God, I'm not dealing with that friggin' regeneration crap all day. That is a 19.
19, that's a hit. Roll your damage.
Excellent.
Are you rolling it as 2d8 because you're a level 5 warlock?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Don't worry, I'm making sure. That's going to be 10 points of necrotic damage, and until my next turn, he can't regain health.
Yes, because you hit him with necrotic damage. How much was it altogether?
10.
10, okay, so he's down to... Yep, alright.
He's down 10 and he now can't regain health.
Yep, okay. At the end of Bobbitt's turn, he casts Chill Touch, attempting to hit... let us see. Attempting to hit Alessander with it.
Damage and what?
He's going to hit you, he's going to cast Chill Touch, and that is going to be a 17 to hit.
Nope.
Nope. He hisses, enraged. Okay.
I just like to point out at this point that Alessander does not actually have Mr. Stick in her possession. It's still in the pocket. She never took it back out.
Yes. Well, she doesn't need him to cast spells.
She does not.
It is now, It is now... Oh, okay. Yeah, and then this just goes down right down to Remy. Okay, it is now Onyx's turn.
Okay. Shadow is going to risk a reactionary attack from Broodguard 4
Yep.
and move here.
Yep. Okay, Broodguard 4 is going to... Oh, that's...
No, not Onyx, Shadow.
Shadow, yep. So Broodguard 4 is going to attack with an attack of opportunity. And
His AC is 17.
that is a 12 to hit. Miss.
Oh, thank God.
Swings
Okay,
at the
so
Shadow,
Shadow-
but it's too slow.
Yep, and I can move Shadow as a free action, according to the skill. And then I am going to... Actually, Balisanda actually did what I was planning on doing, so now I need to really quickly... is he within 10 feet of me?
Ras Nsi.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He
My fault.
is.
I have shield touch.
No, that's okay, that's okay. Hey, I don't mind. It lets me do this. I let out a draconic roar. And each enemy within 10 feet of me, now they everybody has advantage to hit them.
Ooh, lovely.
Oh.
And so there is no, like, roll to finish that, so he can't use a legendary resistance on it.
Yep.
So yeah, there is advantage on Ras Nsi, Broodguard 2, and Broodguard 4.
Yep. Okay.
And then with that, I'm going to use my action to whack Ras Nsi with my shadow
Yep, go to hit him.
with advantage. And that is a 21.
That is a hit. Roll for damage.
He's two-handing it, so that's a D10, not a D8. That is 6 plus 1, so that's 10 damage.
Yep.
And then as the as one of my this is not, so whenever I take the attack action I can make one additional melee attack from my Echo's position, so he's going to hit again.
Yep.
That was so close to a nat 20, but no, that was 19 plus 8, so 27.
Yep, that's a hit. Roll your damage.
That is that was only 5 damage.
Yep.
But then I'm going to immediately use my action surge.
Yep.
I am going to cast Chaos Bolt and use a sorcery point to... Oh wait, do I actually have it as the bonus? No, I do not. Don't worry, that was... I'm going to use Chaos Bolt at 2nd level and use a sorcery point to make it hit 2 things. So I'm going to try and hit Ras Nsi and Malison 1.
Yep.
So Ras Nsi with advantage first. That was a 12 plus 7, so that's 19.
Yep. That's a hit on both of them.
Okay, I need to get up the Chaos Bolt table so I know what type of damage I'm doing to him. So that's at 2nd level. What does that?
In fact, as you cast Chaos Bolt, Ras Nsi waves his hand and casts Counterspell.
Can I reactionary counterspell his counterspell?
You can if you want.
I want to reactionary counterspell his counterspell.
Yep, so your bolt goes off.
Yeah, at higher levels, so a 2nd, that's an extra d6, so that's 2d8 and 2d6.
Yep. 2d6, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just grabbing the dice. Please double up, please double up, please double up. Damn it, that didn't double up, but that is a 6 and a 7, so that's... I'm going psychic damage. So that is 10, 16, 23 psychic damage.
Yep. Ooh, nice.
And then the 2nd Chaos Bolt is going towards Malsent. That was a 15 plus 7, so 22. And that's still at 2nd level because of the sorcery point. Please double up. That was a double up on 6. So 6 is poison. Is he immune to poison?
He is, because he's a UNT.
Yeah, one C.
Damn.
Yeah.
And is Ras Nsi?
He is
Immune to
also immune to poison.
Damn, that second one went to waste.
Yep.
Oh well.
Made him burn a canvas spell.
At the
Yep.
end of your turn, Ras Nsi casts Mage Hand, and a reptilian hand sweeps across the room to the cave entrance on the west and starts to ring a loud bell. And Ras Nsi
Wait.
shouts, "Come, Hydra!" But nothing appears.
Doesn't Mage Hand take like a minute to cast?
No, Mage Hand is instantaneous, isn't it? Mage Hand. Yeah, it's one action. Duration is 1 minute.
Is a
Yeah.
minute.
No, what the hell? I was reading that. Yeah,
Yeah.
all my ramblings. Either way, fuck you.
It is now Zinhorn's turn.
And I'll be right back.
Alright, the start of the turn, going to see if I get my Icy Web back. 5 or 6 on the DC. That is a 5, so I have got my web
Yep.
return to. Going to attempt to once again wrap up Ras Nsi. And it's with advantage, isn't it? 'Cause
Yes.
Yep. That is. What do I add to that? That is a 13 plus 5 is 18.
Yep, that's a hit.
Awesome. So once again, he is restrained,
Yep, restrained.
and then Zinhorn is going to make his way, like, try and launch off the wall and just land right here.
Yep, land right right here.
Just give.
Yep.
Next to Ras
Next to
Nsi.
Ras Nsi. Yep. Okay, at the end of your turn, Ras Nsi casts Chill Touch on you. He's going to see if he can hit. And that is a 19.
That's it.
Okay, so that will be 9 points of necrotic damage.
No, 19 wouldn't hit because you get your shield.
No,
But
he's,
I mean,
he's
I spider
yeah,
flame
he's a
form.
spider.
Ah, right, my bad.
Yep.
Sorry.
Um, so 9 points.
Yep, 9 points of necrotic damage as the ghostly skeletal hand flies
And
towards you and
my-
wraps around you.
My orb works whilst I'm in this form, doesn't it? My orb of
Yep.
shielding.
It does work. So you're gonna
So-
take half, go down and take 4 instead. Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, it is now Ava's turn.
So 4 points of damage. Yep, cool.
I'll play Ava for this turn. I know what she could do. So Ras Nsi is still her
Sorry,
play.
I'm
Hey,
back.
go ahead. Yep. Go. Ava's
Once
turn.
again, said Ava and didn't even register. Yeah, she's still going to take her attacks at Ras Nsi, her favoured foe.
Yep. Go ahead.
So that was a 15 plus 9, so 24.
That's a hit.
D8 plus 6. So it was 12 for the basic bow. That was a 4 for the psychic, and the D6 was a 1.
Okay. So all.
Yep.
Yep. So.
So
All right.
12 plus. Yeah. And then she's going to attack her second attack.
Yep. Go ahead.
Ooh, that's a 15.
15. That is unfortunately not a hit.
Okay.
The
fair
arrow
enough.
bounces off the onyx-coloured bracer that Ras Nsi wears on his arm.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta actually say that I have used one of her prone arrows.
Yes.
And yeah, she doesn't really have any bone. Oh, she actually has a bonus action. Is Hunter's Mark a bonus action?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, she'll cast Hunter's Mark on Ras Nsi.
Yep, very well. Okay, at the end of her turn, he's going to attempt to cast Chill Touch on her with disadvantage. That will be... let me see... That is a 19, even with disadvantage, so that hits her.
Yeah, her AC is 18, yes. Yep.
She takes 15 points of necrotic damage.
15, okay. Okay, yep.
Okay. It is now the enemy's turn. Ras Nsi does not regenerate, because he's been hit with necrotic damage.
He takes 3 points of damage from
the web. Yep.
And all enemies take 6 points of damage that are 5 feet away from me.
Yep, so that is... Yep, so he takes...
So does that count as ice damage?
Yeah, it's cold
That is all cold damage, yes.
Yeah, so would they take more from that, or...?
Well, that's just what I...
Well, these ones
that's
will
what I've
not.
rolled.
It'll just be normal, because...
No, that's cool, that's cool.
Technically, you auntie don't actually take double from cold. I was just doing that to make those ones outside of this hideout go down quicker.
Oh. From the battle back on that one, Mr. Wizard.
Okay, so his first action, he's going to cast Polymorph on Onyx.
Just as did I get my reaction at the end of my turn back, or because I used it to counter spell, does that count?
It counted as your reaction, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I just wasn't sure whether it starts at the end of your turn or not.
So please make a wisdom save.
I was gonna say, how good is your wisdom? Because I still have a spell up my sleeve.
Yeah, he's definitely not a druid, let's put it that way.
So you want me to get a spell?
Possibly a good idea.
Okay.
If you want to use it. Otherwise, I've still got my shadow who can do all my attacks.
Yeah, but I don't know what he's going to turn you into, and that could be a problem.
Well, whatever he turns me into, my shadow can still do all of my attacks and everything.
Alright.
Because it doesn't require concentration.
Well, make your wisdom save anyway and see what happens. You know, he might not get it off. Yep, well, yeah, that's definitely not going to get it off. He snaps his finger, and where Onyx stood, you see a tiny little skink scuttling across the floor for shelter.
Oh, no, I've still got control of myself. I'm trying to get underneath the brood guards.
Yep, alright.
I'm
So
trying
in
to get
your
them to stick
turn-
me.
Yep, in your turn you can run underneath the brood guard.
It's holding two little sticks, that's his warhammer and his shield.
For his second action, he is going to cast Blight on Alisander. Please make a con save, Alisander.
That is a 21.
That is a 21. Very well, that is a pass. So, yep, you get half of this damage.
I imagine this is still going to hurt.
22 points of necrotic damage wash over you from the necromantic energy.
That's halved.
Yes, it was 44 all up.
Outstanding. I'm glad I saved then.
Well, remember what I did to the tree.
I know.
See what you do.
And then, with his final action, still restrained, he's going to attempt to attack Zinhorn with his flame-tongued longsword with disadvantage. With disadvantage, that is an 18 to hit.
Yep, that hits.
So Zinhorn, you take 10 points of slashing damage plus 12 points of fire damage, so 22 altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Now is the rest of the enemy's turns. URT Broodguard 1 must attack Sir Lucian. Lashes out with its claws and bite and is unable to hit him. Broodguard 2 attempts to attack Zinhorn. So that will be a 14 and a 5. Neither of them hit. It then goes in for its bite. That is a nat 20.
Yes.
Zinhorn, you take 14 points of piercing damage.
Huh?
Broodguard 4 rushes past Skink Onyx, drawing an attack of opportunity from Fenthaz's guard, who swings and misses.
Damn it.
Now that Alessander is flanked, this Broodguard goes in.
Damn
That
it.
is a 21 to hit on the first attack.
Yeah.
That is 8 points of slashing damage. The second is 23 to hit with advantage.
Yeah.
That is 8 points of slashing damage. And then the bite comes in, and with advantage, that is a 20 to hit.
Fucking hell. This
So that is
bad.
9 points of piercing damage.
Shit. Okay. Well, still up, but... Ow.
Yuan-Ti Broodguard 3 attacks Fenthaz's guard.
Wait, what
Yep.
type of weapons have they been using to attack me with?
Natural weapons, which count as magical.
So, so I suppose the lycanthropy doesn't help.
Yeah,
then.
it won't be helping. It's only,
Uh,
against the Brood Guards. Okay. Ras Nsi would have prepared for that. Salida knew
Yeah.
about your...
yeah.
And so you notice, your heart sinks as the Brood Guards withdraw their claws. You notice somebody has attached tiny little silver pieces
Fuck!
to the end of their claws.
Yeah, this is what I shouldn't speak of.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Okay, Fenthaz's guard 1 is hit 3 times and takes
Jesus.
18 points of damage. Fenthaz's guard 1 responds and deals 18 points of damage to Brood Guard 3. Fenthaz's guard 2 moves up to Brood Guard 1 and attacks, but is unable to get a hit off.
Come on, guys, let the side down here.
Yuan-Ti Malison 1 reaches for its sheath and extracts a silvered scimitar,
Fucking. Okay, yeah, fuck you.
slides down to Alessander and makes
Yeah.
a multi-attack. So that is a
Fuck.
5 on the first one, so that's not a hit.
No,
That is a 22 on the second one.
you can kill me now, it's fine.
You take 8 points of slashing damage, because it was 4 doubled.
Yeah, okay.
Yuan-Ti Malisa 2 raises his longbow and fires it at Ava with disadvantage. That is a 7, so Ava ducks as the arrow flies over her. It is Sir Lucian's turn. Rolls to hit Yuan-Ti Broodguard 1, hits it, slices its head off, then makes his second attack on Yuan-Ti Malison 1. That is a nat 20.
Nice.
That is 20 points of damage from Sir Lucian. Sir Lucian raises his sword and goes, ah! Using his action surge, he gets 2 more attacks.
Yay.
That
please
is
do.
an 11. That is an 11 to hit. Unfortunately, he does hit
Wait.
Malison again. He cannot miss because the AC is 12.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That is 9 points of damage. He goes in for his final attack. And that is a 21, not nat. And d8 plus 8. 8 points of damage. He lops off Malison 1's head.
Cool. Yay. Awesome.
At the end of his turn, Ras Nsi casts Chill Touch on Ava.
Ooh.
And that will be a 9 to hit with disadvantage. Ava ducks as the hand of energy swings past her. It is now Alessander's turn.
Okay. We've all agreed that potions count as a bonus action, yes?
Yep, they're a bonus action to drink.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bust out the superior one, because holy crap, I've taken a lot of damage sitting here. So how much was the superior? That's 8.
2d4 plus 4. Oh, superior is,
Yeah.
let me see.
8d4 plus 8, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just double checking. It is, 8d4 plus 8.
Let's go high, because I really need health right now. Yep, that legitimately almost doubles my health in one go. Okay, and I know something was damaging the spells, but I'm going to keep working on chill touching Ras Nsi, keep it regenerating.
Yep.
I do have the spell that would be perfect for dealing with everyone surrounding me, but it will also hit like Onyx, Shadow, and Zinhorn as well. I don't really particularly want to do that. So I will simply work on the chill touch then.
Roll with advantage.
Yep, roll with advantage because he is restrained.
Well, restrained and the roll.
Yeah, and the roar, yes.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, because that's a 22 to hit.
22 to hit, that's a hit. Roll your damage.
Yeah, I guess. Gift, bastard. It's gonna be. Actually, that's gonna be 13 points of necrotic damage this time. And we'll continue
Nice. To not regenerate.
Yeah, just swims the potion and just stares at Ras Nsi.
He's looking quite a bit damaged at this point.
Good. But yeah, no, I legitimately have like a cantrip on me just pulling back the veil. Hopefully this time, me being honest, doesn't get my ass whipped. But I did have an actual cantrip that would allow me to like...
Well, no, I did
make an
actually
attack
plan for the UNT in Ras Nsi's room to have silvered weapons.
I figured on that. Just
Salida,
in
yeah.
that you bust, yeah. But no, because I legitimately have a cantrip that allows me to make an attack on like everyone 5 feet around me.
Sword burst.
Perfect.
Yeah, sword burst, yep.
So do I.
Which would have been great for 3 out of 6, but I suppose it would be okay for Onyx as well because he'd come back.
Yeah.
At the
oh well.
end of your turn, at the end of your turn, Ras Nsi casts Mage Hand. His Mage Hand sweeps across the room to his throne and pulls a lever embedded in the side of the throne. The stone wall behind his throne slowly slides open and reveals on the other side 4 husk zombies.
Shit.
Oh, lovely.
Oh god.
Gonna love lairs. Lairs are amazing.
They are.
Yeah, great.
It is now, I believe, after Alessander, it is now Onyx's turn.
Yay! Because I'm a skink, I can't cast any spells, but that's fine. I would like to roar at him again, but I can't because I'm a skink.
Right.
Actually, can I squeak at him?
Yeah, you can just open your mouth and go, He just looks at you with a look of amusement on his face.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm just gonna attack using my echo.
Yep,
But is he still restrained?
he is still restrained.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, so advantage. Nat 20.
Oh, go ahead. Nice, roll to hit him.
That is 7 plus 4, so 11, so that's 22.
22, lovely.
And then I'm going to use the last time I can use this, the extra attack from my echo, because I get it as many times as I have a constitution score.
You have inflicted over 100 points of damage on him by this point, I'll just say.
So that is an unnatural 20 this time.
Yep, that is a hit.
That's a 7 again, so that's another 11 damage.
Lovely.
And then as a movement, I would like to stand underneath a brood guard.
Yep. You run underneath one of the brood guards.
Hoping that that'll stay on me. And I can't use a bonus action because I'm a fucking skink.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's actually... Oh no, because I have different hit points now, so I can't use my second wind. Yeah.
At the end
That's
of your
my turn.
turn, Ras Nsi raises his hand and casts Firebolt at Alessander.
Wait, Firebolt?
Yep, Firebolt, not Fireball. He does have that. That's a 9, so it's fine. It's you and
Yay, resistant. Yay.
glances off your shield.
He can't hit us with fireball without hitting himself.
Yeah, it is
That's fine.
Zinhorn's turn.
I don't have the thing in front of me, but do we agree that the vines, was that a bonus action or an action?
Depending on what you wanted to do, as a bonus action for them to move you around the room, an action to attempt to restrain a foe with them.
If I was going for the lever.
If you were going for the lever, bonus action, you just make a unarmed attack to hit the lever with your vine.
Alright, so I want to firstly, even though that's, I'm going to roll it got a 2, so I don't get my webbing back. Then I'm going to, as an action, going to go in with the bite attack.
Bite attack, yep.
Which is, what was it? +5, so it's 19 to hit.
That's a hit, roll your damage.
So it's 1d8 piercing. That's not an 8, that's an 8. And that's 6 points of cold piercing damage. And he's immune to poison, so doesn't worry about the rest of it.
Yep.
Now, as the bonus action, I want to point the vines in the direction of the lever and try and pull the lever.
Oh yeah, got it, says Rowan as you fling him out. Please make an unarmed attack. So that will just be a d20 plus your strength or dex mod, and the DC to hit the lever will be 15.
Alright, so that is a 17 plus 2, so...
Yep. Your vine
19.
wraps around the lever and pulls it down. The door slams shut, trapping the husk zombies inside their compartment.
Fuck yeah!
At the end of your turn, Ras Nsi casts Firebolt on you. And that is a nat 20. So that will be...
That would disadvantage because he's restrained, or...?
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about the disadvantage. With the disadvantage, it's just a hit. So that is 14 points of fire damage you take.
Okay, so I am back to Zinhorn,
Yep.
and
It
I
is-
take... Oh,
It is now Ava's turn.
Ava is going to get a +1 arrow.
Yep.
So I'll take that off. And try to shoot him.
Yep, go ahead.
That is a 12 plus 9, so 21.
21. He is going to cast Shield. Bring his AC... Actually, no. Shield
that
won't
with
do anything.
advantage?
Yep, that's fine. That's fine.
Cool. So that's a D8. So that's fucking max damage again. So that's
Yeah.
8 plus 6, so that's 14, 15 for the +1 arrow.
Yep.
I'm just going to do the exact same thing again.
For me,
That is a 17 plus 9, so 28.
Yep.
That unfortunately is not max damage, but that is 10 damage.
Ooh, nice. He's looking quite hurt.
I gotta add extra damage to that as well, actually,
The
because
arrows are sticking out of his
the
body. Some of his
psychic
scales
damage-
have fallen off.
psychic
Yep, is.
damage was 4, favored foe was 2, and hunter's mark was 6.
Yep. So Ras Nsi is pockmarked in blood, and some of his scales have been torn off. He's looking quite hurt by this point.
And hunter's mark actually says whenever I hit it, so that's actually 2d6 I need to roll. That was another 5.
yay!
Yeah, that's the end of Ava's turn.
At the end of Ava's turn, Ras Nsi casts Mage Hand, once again pulling the lever on his throne and letting the husk zombies out.
oh.
It is now the enemy's turn. Ras Nsi laughs. He raises his hand, and using his first
First, he
action,
takes 4
Yep.
points of cold damage because he's
He
still
does,
restrained
yes.
by web.
uses his first action to make a legendary save and rip the webbing off himself,
Again.
and then uses his next action to cast Circle of Death.
Oh, now he's getting desperate.
Okay.
We're on the home stretch, boys.
Please describe Circle of Death.
So-
before we go any further.
A sphere of negative energy ripples out in a 60-foot radius from a point that Ras Nsi points at. He is going to pick here. He's going to pick here. And that will catch everyone in the room, including himself and all of his zombies and his opponents. And anyone caught in that range must make a con save or take 10d6 necrotic damage.
Okay. So, con save.
Okay, so do we want me to counter this or let him take the damn hit?
Oh, I can counter it as well, actually. Oh, no, I can't because I'm a fucking skink.
Yeah, I still have one more counter spell up my sleeve. Do we want me to do this or do we want to see... Like, I don't know how everyone else is doing for health.
I mean, Ava and Onyx are doing okay. Unless he gets a perfect roll, both going to survive.
Skink form.
Yeah, skink form will die.
And then he'll just
He
turn
can
back
come
into... He'll just turn
Yeah.
back into Onyx minus however much HP the skink
Yeah.
had, plus any
but
additional
that
damage.
Yep. But that being said, if you use it, that will waste one of his spell slots.
Yes.
So, and now we know he's getting desperate.
People
But that being said, the husk zombies could all get destroyed and not hurt any of us.
Yeah.
And he would
And
probably
Zillion has
wipe
his
out
orb.
his remaining Melisons and Brood Guards too.
I was going to say, if the husk zombies get killed from back there, would any of us be in the firing line of the explosion?
No, you
No.
won't be.
No.
Ah, fuck it, I'll take the con save then. Screw it.
Alright,
man.
everyone make
He wants
con
to-
saves, please.
Okay, so
Commit suicide, let him freaking go.
let's see.
I know deep down what it is.
Is a 22.
So
20.
Ava got 17.
Yep.
Bob got 12
12,
because he rolled a 5.
19.
19. Okay, Alessander passes. And Sir Lucian does not pass, even though his con is very good. So,
Oh no, I made
everyone except Alessander takes 38 points of necrotic
I got
damage.
I got a 22.
Oh yeah, you pass. So yep. So everyone except Alessander and Zinhorn takes 38 points of necrotic damage. Zinhorn and Alessander, you take 19 points of necrotic damage.
My orb?
And yep, you're gonna
Orb of shielding?
How much health did a skink have? Just one?
just one. So yeah,
So,
you take 37
50,
points of necrotic damage.
53, 40.
So both of his brood guards go down. Venthaza's 2 guards are looking close to death, and so is Yuan-Ti Malison too, but he is still up. And the husk zombies and Ras Nsi are all immune to necrotic damage. Oh, and of course the brood guard 2 goes down.
Wait, he's immune to necrotic damage?
He is.
I've been hitting him with chill touch all this time. You've been letting him take damage from that.
Oh, that is necrotic. Sorry, he's resistant to it. Yeah. So yeah, he takes 19.
So,
What do I
zombies
take?
are immune to necrotic damage?
No, he's not. The zombies are immune. He's not. Sorry, I got him mixed up. He's resistant.
Okay.
I
What
will
do
be
I
right
take
back.
with my orb?
Yep. So you're going to use your orb. If you use your orb, Zinhorn, you will take 8 points of necrotic damage.
I will definitely do that.
But then he uses his third action
Yeah.
to. Let me see. He's going to cast Animate Dead on the dead Yuan-Ti Malison.
Yeah, no.
You're going to counter that?
Yeah, no.
Alright, fair enough.
None of that, please.
Okay, Yuan-Ti Malison 2 slithers over and attacks Alessander with its silvered scimitar.
You're fucking right, pal.
That is an 8 and a 10, so you
Can
were...
I-
Oh, wait, the last one, yeah, it was a 19.
He's
So
gonna
only
go
one
past me.
Yep, Zinhorn.
Can I use one of my charges on my shield to try and like knock him prone?
Yeah, what does it say you can do that as a react?
It just says additionally, the shield has 3 charges. It regains 1d3 charge. If you are holding the shield and you push a creature with your reach at least 5 feet away, you can expend 1
Oh,
charge.
yeah, that'd be on your turn.
But I just wanted to check that. So
Yep.
I still get an attack of opportunity.
Yes, you do, so go ahead, roll to hit.
And the only thing I can do is just my normal attack. Actually, yeah. That is a 12 plus 5.
Yep, that is a hit, roll your damage.
That is 3 points of damage.
3 points
Lucky-
of damage,
lucky
you on
one
Team
roll.
Malison 1 has 1 HP left.
Of course it does.
He hits Alessander just once with his silvered scimitar. Alessander, you take 10 points of slashing damage.
Ow.
1 HP.
Fenthaza's guard 2 leaps forwards and cuts you on Team Malison 2's head off.
Yay, could have used that a second ago, but fine.
And then guard number 1 fires his longbow at one of the husk zombies and misses.
Damn it.
Husk zombies start pouring out of the gap. 2 of them
Yeah, correct.
approach Sir Lucian. The 2 of them gather around Zinhorn and Onyx. Actually, no, the 4th one will go here. And then, at the end of the enemy's turn, Ras Nsi raises his hands and barks an order in Draconic. Explode!
Oh, you son of a bitch!
And all of the husk zombies explode. I need everyone to please make 4 please make 4 con saves.
Quick question, what kind of damage do we take from this explosion?
Poison, so you're immune to it.
Yeah, I don't need to roll. Sorry
You don't
for
need to
everyone
roll.
else,
Everyone else needs to roll 4 con saves.
though. He really is getting desperate.
21.
Right. It's probably best if he just tells us what the DC is now, so we...
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
DC will be, for a husk zombie, the DC is 12.
Okay.
3 passes and 1 fail.
Very well. Alright, so Lucian passed only 1, unfortunately. He's rolling quite badly.
Seriously, Lucian, what the shit?
How did Ava and Onyx go?
I think he's still out.
Oh yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, so on the first one, Zinhorn, you passed, so you take 7 points of poison damage. So Lucian takes 14. On the second one, Zinhorn, you take 11 points of poison damage, so Lucian takes 22.
Yeah.
On the third one, Zinhorn, you take 10 points of poison damage, so Lucian takes 20.
He's gonna die, isn't he?
And on the fourth one, Zinhorn, you take 19, and Sir Lucian takes 8, so Lucian makes a death save. He rolls a nat 1 and fails 2 death saves.
Oh dear.
Shit.
Okay. It is now Alessandro.
sorry.
Yep, okay,
What have I
so
mixed? I'm
you
sorry.
need to roll 4 con saves each for you and Ava.
Oh,
He kamikaze the fucking zombies, and I think we're in trouble with losing.
Yeah, Lucian went down and crit failed his death save.
fuck me. Ava got a 16 on one, the rest are all under 10s.
Yep, so 1 pass, 3 fails.
Onyx got a lot better actually. Shit, I should have used these rolls for Ava. Fucking hell. 22, 23, 19, and 15.
Those are all passes.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Now, Ava takes 68 points of poison damage.
She's down.
Make a death save for Ava. And you...
That's one fail.
Yep, 1 fail, and you take 34 points of poison damage.
I'm still up.
It is now Alisander's turn.
Okay. How bad off does Ras Nsi look at the moment?
He's looking quite severely beaten up. He's got a look of desperation on his face.
Because I really want to finish Ras Nsi off, but at the same time, I don't want Solution to die.
Or Ava.
Yeah, I know, but Ava at least has 2 more shots
Yeah.
on her. Well, Solution is literally, if he fails again, which is entirely likely, he's going to die.
Yeah.
God damn it. And unfortunately, the only spell I have to help Solution requires me to be next to him to do it, so...
Yeah, you'll get an attack of opportunity from Ras Nsi.
Well, who's next after me?
Zinhorn. And then Ras Nsi.
Okay, Zihorn, do you have any healing spells I need to save more than
I
one
do.
person with range?
Oh, I've only got healing word.
But you can at least use it to save Solution, yes?
Yes, I'm also at only like 16 HP, so
Wait,
yeah,
wait, is that in your Ice Spider form, or did you already...
No,
I
he's
think out
base
of-
form.
that's my base form.
Yep.
My shadow would have died as well.
Yep, Shadow's gone.
Shit.
Couldn't you sort of go to where the shadow was and not be out of range, so you wouldn't get it?
I know, Spare the Dying is a touch spell, so I still have to actually...
Yeah, but
Maybe
you...
yeah,
I
you
know,
know.
Yeah, you
if I'm
could-
only moving, if I'm moving there, I'm not actually
Yeah.
able to attack. I'm
Yeah,
not
you don't get
actually-
an attack of opportunity if you move there.
Okay, yeah, fine, yeah. Alessandro is going to go straight to Solution.
Sir Lucian and cast Spare the Dying.
Dying, and because he is now saved, and with my, what is it? Oh yeah, my ability gives me some health back for doing that as well.
Oh, lovely.
It's nice, not much, but you know, it's better than bloody nothing. Yeah, I'll take, what is that, just 3, it's not much, but 3 hit points is still 3 bloody hit points.
Yep.
Okay, so he's now stabilized, so he's not dying for the next 5 minutes. Actually, as a bonus action, can I put a regular healing potion down his gullet just to go...
Yeah, down in his gullet.
It's going here. Actually, hear it all very quietly. Alessandra just whispers, "You better forgive me, be grateful for this. I just gave up a chance at killing him for you."
You open his mouth and cram the healing potion down.
It's 2d4 plus 2, isn't it?
Yep.
He gets 7 hit points back.
7 hit points. He's back on his feet. He can land an attack. At the end of your
Yeah.
turn, Ras Nsi casts Firebolt on Sir Lucian.
You piece of shit, don't you
He
dare.
nat 20s and
Oh,
deals
fuck you!
8 points of damage to Sir Lucian.
Are
Sir
you fucking
Lucian
with
goes
me?
down and passes
Fuck
his
you!
first death save.
No, fuck you! God damn it, literally said Alessandra has to swearing in about 5 different languages because she's capable of doing that now.
Meanwhile, Ras Nsi's just going,
Oh, fuck off. Okay.
It
yeah.
is Zinhorn's turn.
Please,
Uh,
please murder this.
Hey, isn't it mine?
Uh,
After Alexander?
you're-
Oh, yeah,
you're-
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's right.
please,
Sorry.
Please murder the shit out of this.
Onyx's turn. Yep.
I cast Blinding Smite and I
Yep.
go to hit him.
Go to hit him.
He's not...
He's not
Restrained
restrained.
anymore?
No.
No.
Doesn't matter, that was 17 plus 7.
That's a hit.
Oh,
So that is my normal attack. So that's D10. That's 3 plus 4. So that's 7, 8 damage because it's plus 1 warhammer.
8 damage.
Keep forgetting
nice.
about that. And then blinding smite. 3d8 radiant.
All right, go ahead. This might finish him off.
3d8 radiant.
After that attack, he has 16 hit HP left.
I can't believe I wasted a chance to kill him to go and save Solution for nothing.
That's a 7 and a 6
And a 6.
equals 13,
13, yep.
but it's 3d8.
Yeah.
Plus four.
Oh.
So he's dead.
Oh.
Done.
Oh. Oh,
You
he's-
hit Ras Nsi with your smite, your warhammer pressing down upon his bared chest, leaving an imprint. A burst of magic scatters from the tip of your warhammer, blasting him off his feet. He tumbles to the back of the room, hits the wall, and pathetically, he coils on the floor, reaching out a bony hand. Alessander, he says. And then his crimson triangle begins to dim and dim till it turns entirely black. He falls limp. Before you have a chance to react, you feel a dark presence within the room. Dark clouds begin to coalesce around Ras Nsi as he continues making death throws, and out of the almost solid darkness next to him, you see extending a long, skeletal, red-clawed hand. A voice whispers in abyssal, "It is time," as it grabs Ras Nsi by the arm, and as he begins to scream, wrenches him into the cloud of darkness and through the portal into the abyss.
Do I have time to say anything before he's dragged?
Yeah, go ahead.
You hear Alessander go to say something that is then almost immediately jumped over by a much more jolly voice going, "Love it like you better when you were imaginary."
And with that, combat is over.
Holy fuck.
But
Yeah.
your patron is now dead, Alessander.
Yeah. This is going to be
I would
fun.
like you to please make a charisma save that is equal to 10 plus the number of levels of warlock that you have. If you fail, you will instantly die.
I was gonna say, you guys see Alessander like immediately just clutch her head and hit the fucking ground. I am going to spend an inspiration point.
Probably wise.
So is that charisma save, you said?
Charisma save, yes.
Okay, so I need to beat a 16, so I only had 6
It's
levels
the
in
warlock
this.
levels, yep.
Want to do something fun? I got a 10, and my charisma saving throw gives me 7.
You
So it's
beat it
17.
by
I
1.
beat it by 1.
As the
Oh, but either way, she's still gonna hit the floor and be like,
Yeah,
"Ah,
yeah. As the darkness begins to fade away and Ras Nsi's screams are suddenly cut off, you feel a sensation that I can only describe as something reaching into your body and squeezing your heart. You
oh,
feel
boy."
tightness in your chest, you could barely move, and gasping for breath, you fall to the ground as dark magic begins to swirl and roil about you. You feel your consciousness waning, the pain almost completely takes over. But, as suddenly as it came upon you, it passes. And
Zenhorn goes over and gives a cure wounds first level to healing word, sorry, to both Ava and
And you find yourself on the floor, gasping for breath. Somehow still alive without your patron. You hear Bobbitt's voice within your head, saying, "Good thing I'm here," as Mr. Stick, now inert, simply falls out of your pocket and lies discarded on the floor. You can feel no more magic emanating from it. The piece of Ras Nsi's soul that remains in your body is enough to sustain your connection to your patron. You retain your warlock powers, and most importantly, your life. And the only voice you hear in your brain now is Bobbitt's, celebrating and laughing after this
Did Bobbit
victory.
just inadvertently become my own patron?
Yep.
Oh,
Well,
God.
the piece of Ras Nsi's soul that is within you is your patron. But as that piece of the soul is Bobbit, Bobbit is Alisander's patron.
Oh, God. It's just Alisander's just sort of like on the floor, sort of like half laughing, half crying, because it's like, hooray, on one hand, the plague that, the being that plagued my family and my civilization is now gone. On the other hand, holy fuck, everything hurts, yay, ow, yay, ow.
After healing as Zinhorn heals everyone, so
Ava got 9 points of healing, Lucian got
Yep.
8.
as Zinhorn heals everyone, Onyx cautiously makes his way over to the door at the very back of the throne room and pushes it aside to reveal Ras Nsi's bedchamber. Bright light spills into the room as you are engulfed by the warming glow of all the treasure contained within. Shadows dance over this opulent bedchamber. Cushions line one corner. Decorative shields line the walls. Treasures are heaped around the room. Gold and silver coins, a gilded harp, a jeweled wine flask, pillows of silk, fine clothes draped over wooden mannequins. To the east, an engraved stone disc, teleportation circle, is set into the floor. To the west, a rectangular steel plate mounted on the wall is polished to a mirror sheen. You gain the following treasures within the room. 5 puzzle cubes to the Tomb of the Nine Gods, situated at the bottom of a stone chest at the foot of Ras Nsi's bed. In addition, lying on the floor of the throne room, left behind by Ras Nsi, are a flame-tongued longsword, and a bracer of defense.
What do?
Bracer of defense? Well, that one you'll like because... Let me just...
I'm really sorry, guys, but I've got to go.
Alright, you level up, by the way.
Cool, thank you.
See you tomorrow for Call
I'll
of
be in contact to find out more later.
See you tomorrow
Bye.
for Call of Cthulhu at 3:30.
Yeah, no problem.
See ya.
Bye.
So,
Bye.
while wearing the braces of defense are a rare magical item that require attunement, while wearing these braces, you gain a +2 bonus to your AC if you are wearing no armor and using no shield.
Damn it!
In
It's a bleeding catch.
In addition, within the room are Ras Nsi's collected treasures from distant lands. These collection includes various art objects and miscellaneous treasures worth altogether 2,000 GP.
Ooh.
Let me write that down.
Yep. In addition, you may please roll, one of you may please roll 2 D20s and add them together.
One question. With Ras Nsi's influence no longer being over Alessander, how's her face looking?
Yeah, you notice that Alisander's face is whole once more.
Okay, and I got a 13 and 17, so it's a 30 all up.
30 all up. Alisander's face is whole once more as she looks up, still gasping for breath. But the crimson triangle on her forehead remains.
Son of a bitch.
The last thing you find within Ras Nsi's quarters is a leather cap painted in vibrant blue with designs of water and bubbles around the brim.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Go ahead and make an Arcana check to identify it.
Just a very weak hand from Alexander going, fine. It's a 23.
It is a cap of water breathing. It is an uncommon item, does not require attunement. While wearing this cap underwater, you can speak its command word, glub glub, as an action to create a bubble of air around your head to allow you to breathe normally underwater. The bubble will remain with you until you speak the command word again, the cap is removed, or you are no longer underwater.
Fair. Ah.
With that, Ras Nsi's influence recedes. Alessander's face is whole once again, the face of Alessander Rayburn, the chosen of Ubtao, looks across the throne room, surveying the aftermath of the battle, looking hurt and saddened at first, but then slowly her face warps into that of a smile, in spite of herself, despite the muted emotions of her new Yuan-Ti form. Alessander feels triumphant. She has defeated Ras Nsi and taken destiny once more into her own hands. Queen Fenthaza enters the room and congratulates you on your victory. She informs you that you are free to take whatever you wish from Ras Nsi's treasure hoard, and then smiles as she notices you have already done so.
That's what we do.
She slithers across the room, through the portion of floor where Ras Nsi fell, spitting venom on pools of blood that marked where he stood. And then, with a loud yawn, she stretches her arms and sits in his iron throne, surveying the throne room. Queen Fenthaza once again rules over the Yuan-Ti of Omu. Whether for good or for bad, Ras Nsi has been defeated. The Yuan-Ti are once again in control of their own destinies, and while down the line this will inevitably result in violence and atrocities committed against the people of Chult, for now, you breathe sighs of relief, knowing that for this moment you have triumphed, and that, in spite of everything else, makes you happy. You are able to receive a long rest as Fenthaza allows you to spend the night within the Fane of the Night Serpent, with the agreement that you will leave at first night and return only when you have the opal crown from the Tomb of Nine Gods. And you all level up.
Yay!
Ow.
Ahead of you,
Actually, I was
Yep.
going to say, actually, for Alexander, it'd be more along the lines of, Either emotion is just meh.
and to reflect you becoming your own patron, Alessander, you gain one spell slot.
Hooray! All shall kneel before my 3 mighty spells.
So, you are triumphant now as you rest, and the Yuan-Ti prepare for you a grand feast to honor their heroes. Their heroes just for tonight, who from tomorrow onwards will once again be their enemies. But you decide you've earned this. You enjoy the feast, you revel in the celebrations, and get a good rest. And as you settle down for the night, as you feel the tiredness set in, and before sleep consumes you, you all feel a shiver down your spines as you remember you have the puzzle cubes. The Tomb of the Nine Gods awaits, along with whatever waits inside. Asarak, the Archlich, who even Ras Nsi feared to face. That concludes this week's session. Next week, you will leave the Fane of the Night Serpent, journey once more into the streets of Omu, and begin the grueling, dangerous expedition into the Tomb of Nine Gods, the titular Tomb of Annihilation. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. Thank you for Ivy, who caught the last bit of that battle. Thank you to Naruto for the sub. Thank you to Anthem's Archive for the raid with a party of 16 who were all watching with bated breath that fight against Ras Nsi the whole time. Yeah, they were watching that whole thing with bated breath.
Damn, thank you. Wow.
Yes,
wow.
so hello and thank you to all raiders. Hope you enjoyed the episode. And thank you to Ivy for welcoming the raiders. I'm sure they appreciate that. And yes, Ivy says, M2, the dice indeed does not like you tonight.
No, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. With that, we are done for tonight. We will be back tomorrow for some Call of Cthulhu, Terror of Sithogua. But until then, do not give up. Fight against the tyranny of Ras Nsi and prevail.
It's fun for us to see.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.